Come on, it's time for fun. It's time to pick your favorites and decide what is shit. Are you ready for this? It's the tier list. Come on, let's go. It's time for the tier list show.
Jason? Jason Voorhees? Is that you? His name was Jason. And next Friday is his birthday. I like it. I like it.
I can't breathe in that thing.
Try breathing underwater with it on.
Right? But he's a scared of water.
He's scared.
He's a scared of water.
That was one of the things I hate. I mean, I love Freddy
versus
but
Jason.
that was one of the things I hated. It was so dumb. Because like you watch part, yeah, no problem. You watch part 6, and he just like walks right into that water like nothing.
Yeah. Pretty much any of the other movies. Yeah, you got to chain him in the water to keep him down, right? So, like, I mean, I guess okay. I guess there is kind of something to that. You could kind of. Because, like in Friday the 13th, Part 6, I mean, just chaining him down keeps him there, right? He can't.
Yeah.
So there is something, I guess, to it. Because any other time, he'd just break the chain and go, right? Like,
yeah.
Nothing's going to stop him. So there must be something mystical or magical about the water. So you know what? Maybe I changed my mind about that.
Maybe. I mean, I know it did. I know it did said in Part 6, which we're already jumping ahead, like way ahead on. Right. It's like that in order to stop him, they had to return him to his where he died. So that's why they, that was in the book that Tommy gets when he talking about the cult.
Yeah, that was his whole thing. But I mean, that was the thing though. He wouldn't drown, but they had to chain his ass down.
To keep him down there.
But like again, like why didn't he just break the chain? There must be something to that, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little subtly. Something.
But how's everybody doing out there? Welcome. We got Greg here so far. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing the best I can. Working my ass off.
I know that feeling.
Ugh. Yeah, I know most people get Sunday off. Not me, baby. Not me. So yeah, Andre's had me working overtime. So that's part of the reason we're late. The other reason we're late is because we were waiting for panelists. There was some miscommunication as to what was going on, but we hopefully will have at least 1 or 2 more people joining us as we move along here. And so with that, let's get things started and say hello to the chat. We got Penny hanging in there. We got Hamdinger here. We have Tornadors in the house. Beep Bop Boops here. Let's see. We got Jeremiah Hembry sending in a member chat. It says, "Why are you late and gay? You seem like you have a Fendi for guys. Maybe you need a woman to come give you some loving and you'll be on time." You know what? A woman in my life would definitely help make things more organized. I am looking for a wifey. So if anybody would like to send in an application, I'm taking them.
I too.
I was going to say, as I'm sure Greg is too.
I am too.
I'll take a wife.
I own a wife. I'm tired of making my own sandwiches.
I'm fucking sick of making my own sandwiches. I don't know how to do laundry. My house stinks. And I can't figure out why.
Well, technically, I know how to cook. I do my own laundry.
I didn't say that.
I wipe my own ass.
Most men can cook. See, that's the thing. It's like, I know it's like this whole stigma thing, but men can, especially meat. Like most men can cook meat. I've known a lot of women who will screw up meat before men will, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to turn this into that kind of a thing. But thank you, Jeremiah, for being a member. We appreciate that. SFX314 Sabretooth Raptor sends in 5 and says, salute to all the Allied forces involved in D-Day, including the great James Doohan, a.k.a. Scotty, the greatest generation. As for Jason X, F tier. Well, we're going to talk about that. And that might be a controversial one as we get into it. Because I know there's a lot of people who like that movie for some reason.
I mean,
I can understand partially why. But. Tornado sends in a very generous $10 super chat and says, Jason never killed anyone at Camp Crystal Lake. Mom did in the first. He did in town and then camp next door in the second and so on. Maybe towards the end of the series. I believe by part 6, he got back to killing folks at what was technically Camp Crystal Lake. Even though I'm trying to remember what they even called it in part 6. So they started changing the name of everything. It was Forest Green.
Camp Forest Green is what it's called. Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know if the camp was the same name, but it might have been, yeah. Was that I know they changed the name of the town even, yeah. Then Tornado sends in 10 and says, part 6, one with Horshack, was the only one that had a motorhome in it. Hail to everyone. I did not know that. That's a good point. I never even really thought of that. Although is it Jason X? Isn't there a motorhome in like the background of the camping scene, or am I wrong? It's because it always stuck out to me. I'm like, why would they need a motorhome if they got tents?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I just watched it on the 4th, I don't think there was one.
Yeah, you could be right. Anyhow, thank you, Tornadoes, for that. We appreciate it. And very generous tonight. You are our ultimate sponsor, and we did get that one from Jeremiah Hembry already. And then Jason Webster says, my mother has a wicked sense of humor. Years ago, when I showed a photo of Jason Voorhees without the mask, she said, it figures, he's a Jason. Wow. Damn,
your mom burned you bad.
Burned you bad, Jason. My God. Your mom is nothing like Mrs. Voorhees. You deserve a mother like Jason Voorhees' mother. I'm just poking. Your mom's probably lovely, but being that what I just said, that's true. I say that is like the thing I love about Sarah Connor and Pamela Voorhees is they'll both kill for their sons.
Yeah.
So
they will.
Very different, but
it reminds me, I scared my boy with my Jason mask I have, because I showed him part 6, which I think is the one that's the most kid friendly because there's no nudity in it or anything. And later that night he fell asleep on the couch, and I was going to carry him to bed, but first I ran in here where I'm at, and I grabbed my Jason mask, so I put it on. I bent down to wake him up to carry him. He scared the crap out of me. It's fun. I'm sorry. It's fun. That's what you got to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, I scared my kid out with a Freddy glove, and I actually had the video on Facebook years ago. He's like, "Damn it, Dad," or something like that. I can't remember. It was funny though.
Horror fans.
Hey, we got Andy in the house too, and 6, who sent in a $2 super chat and says, "Yay, Greg and Tom, or Tom and Greg, the 2 biggest horror fans I know." This is true.
And that's when the whores come in.
Yes.
Running around, shaking
their ass. 6, have you not seen these movies? If you have, get your butt in here. So yeah, we're gonna count down the film. I don't have the TV series on here, but you know what? Unlike the Freddy series, I don't think it should be on the list.
Yeah, I don't think it should.
It doesn't belong there. It's kind of like, for those who aren't aware of what the Friday the 13th series was, yes, it had Frank Mancuso Jr. as a producer who also did the Friday the 13th films, but he literally just took the name, sold a series with that name, and the series is more like X-Files, but in a curiosity store where you got haunted objects. So like each episode's like kind of revolved around that. But yeah, not exactly like X-Files, but you know what I mean. Like each episode has like a,
Is it kind of like cursed items, if I remember correctly, right? When it's
exactly,
like items, yeah.
And not once ever did I think it ever crossed over with the show, not at all.
The
movie, I mean. So,
no.
Yeah, a lot of people love the show, and that's why but I just don't think it counts, or it should count on the list. But it's funny that Jason X was brought up already, because that's the first one on our list here, because I did not make this list. Somebody else did, in fact. X-follower Crucial Thought made this list. So thank you for having it ready for us. So, and it's in a weird order, so we're just going to do it in the weird order that they have it here. And first up is Jason X. Now, you and I just watched and talked about this movie not too long ago.
Yeah, because we just got the new Arrow 4K of it, and can't recommend the Arrow 4K, guys. If you got the Blu-ray, it's pretty much the same thing.
Unless you're a mega fan and want the extra special features, which I
Yeah,
think there's a couple of new things, but other than that, yeah.
yeah. See, now I know this one might be controversial a little bit because yes, there are a lot of people that do like it, and I do think it is a fun movie to watch. I do. It does have really some great fun moments in it. I do like Uber Jason, except he gets to him a little too late in the movie. I do like Cronenberg actually makes an appearance in the movie in the beginning of the movie, and he did it for free. The movie, if I'm rating the movie as the movie, it's a D. It's a D at best. So, but
technically, he didn't do it for free. He had one stipulation.
That's right. I forgot about that.
He had to get killed by Jason.
Yeah. To get killed by Jason in the movie. That's the only way he was going to do it. Yes. So, no, it is funny. It is fun to watch. I often think it has a lot of similarities with Jason Takes Manhattan with the kids on the ship.
Kind of. Now that you mention it.
So, which, I like I said, I think it is a fun movie to watch. It is a fun movie to watch, but on its merits alone, as a Friday the 13th movie, it's a D. It's a D, in my opinion. So, it's not a great movie, but it's fun to watch, and that's hilarious. So,
well, I'm gonna leave this one up to the chat because I don't want to get crucified.
I'll just go ahead and give it a D because I know a lot of people like it.
I'd give it like a D or an F too, but I'm gonna leave it up to the chat already, just so we don't get crucified. We'll jump right into Freddy versus Jason, which we had already kind of mentioned as well. Mm-hmm. Freddy versus Jason is a fun film.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of great elements to it. It does kind of the best it can with what it has, and now that we talked about it a little bit more, I'm almost kind of thinking, you know what, this movie might even be better than we gave it credit for initially.
I think it is, but I would honestly say it's a little bit more of a Jason movie than it is. Well, yes. I guess Friday 13th, I should say, than a Freddy movie. I do often feel like Freddy was underutilized. Considering it's even a New Line Cinema movie, the house that Freddy built, I still think they were trying to get. Me personally, I think they were trying to get Jason right, but they kept making mistakes like not bringing back Kane Hodder and everything. But I would give this movie, I would give it a C. I like the movie. I think it's fun.
I'd actually go a little higher. I'd go maybe B. But the weird thing is you're right. Like the studio itself, I think considers this more of a Jason film, which is weird because it actually has scenes from the earlier Freddy films. Yeah. Freddy is the one telling the story to begin with, and and I think the reason that they consider it that is because the weird thing is Jason is kind of the hero in the film.
Yeah, he is.
And they make it work this time, unlike some of the other scripts. If you go out there and look, it's kind of weird. But funnily enough, Freddy is the reason we never got one of the reasons, I guess, I just found out why we never got Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, because even though there's been a lot talked about it, and we all know Sam Raimi was one of the reasons it just couldn't come to a decision with it, or couldn't come to work it out, or however you want to put it. Because you guys got to remember at that time, he just come off of Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. So Robert Englund just recently talked about this, and I don't know if you saw this interview, but he was talking about how like Sam and Bob came to the table. And for some reason, Sam must have thought that his status in Hollywood was bigger than Bob's. So he was like trying to play the power role in this whole thing. And Bob was going into bat for Freddy because, Freddy's his baby.
Yeah.
And the thing was, and this was Bob's hang up, was that Freddy was going to get killed by Ash. And he's like, we can't have 2 movies in a row where Freddy got killed.
Yeah.
And Robert's like, if somebody would have thought, well, if at least took Bob aside and said, look, you brought him back to life once with dog piss.
Yeah. Bring him back.
You can bring him back. That's what Robert's thinking. He's like, you can bring him back. Just make this shit happen, right? Because Robert desperately wanted this to happen. He's like, I even seen the poster. You got Jason and Freddy there, and they're both in a headlock of Ash,
Yeah, that would have been great. That would have been
great.
But I do. I think I'm gonna move it up to B. I know I said C, but you talked me into it. It is a B. It's a B.
Especially if you've read the other scripts. like
Mhm.
how bad they are. My God.
Yeah, like the Fred heads. Oh my god.
Yes.
Those are
And making Jason bringing him back to life with the heart of one of their friends so they can like control him like he's
yeah,
remote control
yeah.
almost and shit.
Yeah, that's true. So some of the scripts are horrible. They're horrible. Yeah, maybe I'm being a little harsher than I should be because
Those
I'm
are the infamous ones where where Jason actually drives a Lamborghini or some shit in one scene.
so horrible. No, Jason Freddy vs. Jason is good. It is a really good movie. I do think it's better than Jason X. So,
Yeah, I
but
agree, Sean. The Jason look is not as good in
no,
in Freddy vs. Jason. Yeah,
they
that's
wanted
where I
to.
think they switched. That's the first time I think they switched from the latex to the silicone, though. That's partially why.
Mm-hmm.
In the makeup, yeah.
Yeah, and now he kind of looks like that.
Oh, it was
Like
a Camaro. That's what it was. A Camaro. Yeah.
Camaro. And now the new Jason design kind of still looks like not that one. Looks like the other Jason. Yeah. Oh, it's actually still similar to this Freddy vs. Jason, the new Jason design that they came out with.
Yeah, this one was unique, but kind of had like an in between thing going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Webster says, earlier this year, I showed my mother a picture of Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok in Nosferatu. She said, well, you resemble him. Man, your mom is weird, mean to you, Jason. Holy shit.
God. Poor
I mean,
guy.
my mom was never one of those who's like, oh, you're so handsome and all that. And she's never once said that to me in my entire life. I mean, she's told me plenty of times how fat I am, but she's never been that mean, like just flat out mean, like,
Yeah.
like roasting your ass mean.
It's like mean.
That's just mean, man.
Oh,
To
God.
quote James Coburn in Payback.
Yeah.
Let's see what you guys are doing out there. We got 42 votes. Let's get some more votes in here. Although it looks like Jason X might wind up in the seas at this point.
Okay. I mean, I'll be honest. I rated Freddy vs. Jason a little harsher than I should have, because I actually really do like the movie. I do think it is a B, but I was trying to be a little fair. But I got to be honest. Jason X is still a D for me.
Freddy vs. Jason's biggest sin is that it's not Kane Hodder as Jason.
Yes, and especially when you watch if you guys have ever watched it, I know you have, Tom, the Robert Englund documentary, the Nightmares, Hollywood's Dreams and Nightmares, or whatever it is. When they talked to Kane Hodder about it, you could tell it actually really got to him that they didn't use him, and that, or even Robert Englund tried to stick up for him and try to get him, but they just was not going to. The director wanted like Frankenstein. I wanted him like Frankenstein, slow monster. So because that's why they hired Ken Kersinger.
Ronnie Yu.
Yeah, Ronnie Yu.
Anyhow, back to the list. Now we get Friday the 13th, aka the New Jersey Chainsaw Massacre, as I like to call it, because this movie has more in common with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre than it really does Friday the 13th, outside of maybe the first half hour, 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it notoriously has one of the longest opening sequences pre-title, and it has like 3 false starts to this bitch, right? Like, I don't know. This movie is a mess. It kind of was almost worse than I thought it could be in some ways, and I know some people don't mind it as much, but I am sorry. It really, really, exactly, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Jason skin, because Jason does not take fucking prisoners. And since when does he build like an underground fucking lair and shit? Like, where did this come from?
Exactly.
He stays in a cabin in the woods with a teddy bear, for fuck's sake.
I think the best thing this movie's got going for it is it's got great boobs.
Like and the weird Transformer connection, right? Just because of
that blonde-haired guy, because the same guy from I don't know how many people actually know that guy is the same guy from Michael Bay's Transformer.
Yeah, not just the same actor, but the actual same character.
Same character.
So technically, this takes place in the Transformer universe.
Yeah. Which also technically almost takes place in the new their Michael Bay Ninja Turtle universe almost as well.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me at all. I wish I knew. All I know is that I went to see this with my buddy because he was more of a Friday the 13th fan, and he didn't dislike it as much as I did, which I couldn't believe. I'm like, how did you not have better standards for this than I did? And he's like, yeah, I didn't like this and that and the other, but the kills were really good and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, is that how easy? Not to and I'm not trying to put down Friday the 13th fans on a stream where we're doing a Friday the 13th tier list, because I consider myself a fan too. I'm just not one of the. I mean, I guess to me, Freddy, I'm more of a Freddy guy than I'm a Jason guy. If that makes sense. And I think you're the same way, Greg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So for me, it's like I'm looking at it as this is not technically my franchise. Yes, I'm a fan, but I'm not going to sit there and pretend to know every in and out, even though I probably know more than most people who claim to be fans about Friday the 13th. But again, like I know, I get it. Some of the diehard fans love this remake. I don't understand it. I really don't. So should we leave it up to the chat? See, here we go. Beat Bop Boop sending in Derek Myers, or however you say his name, is underrated as Jason. I didn't think he was that great. I didn't think he did anything that Kane Hodder couldn't have done, or even done better.
They just made him run.
He's big. That's it. Yeah.
Well, I will say the good thing is like Kane Hodder is friends with Derek Mears, so like. There you go.
He was also friends with Ken too, I believe.
Yeah, Ken was even his stunt double in Take Manhattan. So
yeah, so I mean that was the other thing is Ken had technically played Jason before, I think, but yes,
it's
just a Anyway,
yeah, I mean it's true. He does it. He's just. I mean, it's Jason. It's nothing.
It's nothing wrong with him. That's not the problem.
Yeah, it's not the problem.
It's just the script.
Yeah.
And how it crams 3 or 4 movies into one and still doesn't keep a coherent real storyline together. Sure, some of the deaths are really cool, but like I said, once it hits that, what is it, like midway point or whatever, where he takes the one girl hostage and then
he takes her hostage in the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's had her all that time on top of it all. And like that's the thing is people will like sometimes defend it and they're all like, yeah, but he's easy to trick, and if he thinks it's his mom, it's like, yeah, that only lasts for about fucking 10 seconds in any of the movies.
Yeah.
You could temporarily kind of confuse him, but then he kind of figures it out pretty quick, usually.
Yeah.
Something always gives it away.
It's very true, very true. Because it's even in part 2, which one he figures it out because he like sees the head and he sees her and he sees it. He's like, wait a minute. And I was always kind of upset the way they treated the one girl in the movie, the one that you thought was going to be the final girl. I think her name was Danielle Panabaker, the actress, and how they dispose of her so quickly after you get to know her so much in the movie, like near the end when they're in tunnels.
I was gonna say she's the one that is dating the Transformer guy, but then ends up with the
guy from Supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like because it's like they're like the final girl and boy in the movie the whole way through. Then all of a sudden they get rid of her, and then boom, the sisters. It's like I kind of.
That's what I was saying. It has like so many false starts to this movie. It's like, who am I supposed to follow? What is this movie really about?
Yeah. I did like the way they treated her and disposed of her so easily and stuff. So I mean, if you want to leave it up to the chat, I would, because like
I don't
some
know.
people like this one.
A part of me does, but part of me is also like, fuck this movie.
Yeah.
Because I want to put it in the F so bad. Like I just want to. Because it was exactly what I told my buddy it was going to be. Because he was all jazzed about it. I'm like, you do realize that you're not going to get a true remake of Friday the 13th, right?
Right.
He's like, yeah, I'm sure they'll probably bring in Jason a little sooner. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, no, I'm like serious. I'm like, that first poster that comes out isn't going to be shit. It's not going to say anything. It's just going to have a fucking mask on it. And that's it. And that's exactly what it was. And I knew it. They would gun through the end of the first movie in the first 10 minutes of the movie, which they did. Oh, Beat Bop Boop loves it. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. I mean, Joshua, this is a weird one. Halloween's one I don't even want to get into right now. We'll save that for the Halloween's ones. But how many drafts were they for this? I have no idea, to be honest with you. Probably a few. The guys who did Freddy versus Jason did this, I think, if I remember right, which is weird. But,
I think so. Or was it? Yeah, this Freddy versus Jason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it does have decent kills. It does have decent boobs. Jason is Jason for all intents and purposes,
Until
other than
he
he
takes
runs.
prisoners.
Yeah, until he takes prisoners. So, I, I don't. I mean, I get that some people like it, but yeah.
I'm gonna leave that as my controversial one. Fuck it.
There you go. Leave it as your controversial one.
Because I didn't feel harsh enough to fucking argue for Jason X, which is ending up in the seas. So
I mean, I'm not surprised at that because it is a fun watch. Even if it is a bad movie, it's a fun watch. So I'm not surprised at that.
all right. Well, now here's the reason why we're doing this poll or tier maker list today. Sure, I should say, not poll.
Mm-hmm.
Is because 45 years ago, this Friday, Friday the 13th, was a Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And they released the original Friday the 13th, which is the day that it actually takes place, which is one of those rare occurrences where they actually managed to make a movie come out on the day that it actually takes place.
Yeah.
Because today is Jason's birthday.
Yes. Kill her, mommy. Kill her.
And I believe also it would have been like his 13th or whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But, no, wait, because it would have been like 10 years after that. That's right. Anyhow, that being said, I mean, the Friday the 13th films wouldn't have gone anywhere without the first film. And
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you and I are going to argue too damn much that the
No,
first
it's
one
A.
belongs
It's A
on the
period.
A-list. I mean, the simplicity of it, the beauty of it, it works so well. And Mama Voorhees is a scary bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And you can believe her. Like, I mean, you know, we talk all the time about these, you know, women and how they're unbelievable in their roles. Like, she's not a small woman, or at least they don't make her look small in the movie.
No,
Right?
I mean, yeah, she's got the boots and the hiking gear and all. I mean, well, you know,
Even though she's
Jeep
played
and
by a
whatnot,
man
but-
through most of the movie until the
Yeah,
end. But yeah.
yeah. Well, even when her head is cut off, I think that's Tom Savini's hands, if I remember correctly.
That's
It's
his
man's
assistant's hands, but yeah.
assistant hands. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Like, but no, she's great. She's intimidating. And as we talked about before, it's the reverse of Psycho, where the mom is talking to the kid in her head. It's opposite of like Psycho, because that's what they ripped off. She is legit scary, and it is a surprise when it is revealed to be her. Because most
The first
people,
time you see it.
yeah, the first time you see it. Spoiler alerts.
Well, the beauty of this movie is that it, unlike like Planet of the Apes and some of the other movies with like twists, this one still manages to surprise people, because most people, when they associate Friday the 13th with anything, it's Jason.
Yep.
So, and this was always kind of the fun part of like Scream in the beginning, when, you know,
Yeah.
she gets the wrong answer, because everybody always does. Who was the killer in Friday the 13th? Well, everybody jumps to Jason. It was Jason. And he's like, wrong answer. You know, well, it's because everybody knows Mrs. Voorhees was the killer in the original.
Yeah. One of my favorites is like, you know, watching. So sometimes you can't tell, but sometimes you can tell when you watch a movie reactor on like YouTube, when they're asked to react to this movie, you can see the ones that have generally never have seen the movie, because when it gets to the end and how surprised they legitimately are, that shows you how well the movie still plays. Because that's I love seeing genuine reactions to people when they find out, like, where's Jason? You mean it's not Jason? You know, I love that. So yes, Betsy Palmer is an incredible Pamela Voorhees. It's a great movie, and 13 kills. Speaking of which we didn't even talk about in the last one, that they tell you right off the bat, there's 13 kills in Friday the 13th.
Well, that's the whole trailer too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole trailer. 1,
Even
2,
though it does muck with you to
3.
try to
Yeah.
save some of them, but yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's an amazing movie. It's an A. It's an A all the way. So.
And then we get to part 2, which is one of those rare sequels that kind of lives up to the initial one. At least it does most of the same things the first one does, yet has another twist in it when you find out that the masked killer this time is actually Jason.
Yes.
Although it's kind of given away a little bit earlier on when he's like gives the whole spiel about the woods or whatever. But yeah, no, this has got some fun kills in it. It's also got what's unique about part 2? I'm trying to remember.
Ginny is probably one of the best final girls.
I was gonna say, yeah, probably one of the more
franchise.
beloved final girls, and then you got one of the cool death scenes, because this is the one with the wheelchair where the guy's going down
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one
Yep.
that everybody remembers. The poor guy in the wheelchair.
And he was just about to get lucky too.
Just about to get lucky.
That's when you're like, that's when you know you got a movie right there. It's like he's about to get lucky, and then boom, Jason. You know, that's where the whole
put a stop to that shit.
Yeah, don't have sex. It's a big no. You know,
doesn't even get to.
Yeah,
it's like if you're an innocent and you decide you're gonna make a sin, it's like double whammo to you. You don't even get a chance to.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. The one problem I do have with this movie, but luckily, like we just talked about, Ginny steps in as a good final girl. Is I do not like how they dispatch of Alice in the beginning of the movie. That's my one caveat. Yeah. Other than that, I'm gonna
but
say
it kind of works in a sense that it would be Jason to track her down and do it because he killed her because she killed his mom.
Yes. Oh no, it completely makes sense and it works, you know. But it's kind of like, oh man, you know.
It almost adds to like the levity, or is that the word I'm looking? Not levity. The gravity of the difference between what they're dealing with between Mrs. Voorhees and now Jason, right? Because Jason comes in and takes out the final girl right away with a vengeance for a reason. So like, and he's a force, right? I think that even though I dislike that they did that to the original actress, at the same time, it is also kind of that way of showing, guess what? This guy is worse than she was, and you better watch out. And as we get to see, you know, so yeah.
And I mean, and he is much more brutal in the second, you know, than Mrs. Voorhees, and he's much scarier. Yeah, I would say he's much scarier. And Baghead Jason, I think, is very underrated. I like
that's the only thing I hated about it growing up, but now as an adult, I appreciate it more because it actually has some of the better side characters, or as far as the teenagers and memorable ones and stuff like that. Outside of maybe part 4, and 6. So like. I mean, well, that was actually kind of one of Friday the 13th strengths, I guess, compared to a lot of the other franchises alongside Nightmare on Elm Street, is that it did have a lot more memorable, you know,
characters.
Meat puppets.
Yeah.
Because that's the way a lot of these movies treated them.
Yeah. They do a great job of like, with like most of the movies, like when they set up is like, this is the new group of people, get to know them, and they're dead. So you get to know, you know, so it's got a great setup to get to know these characters and everything. And, you know, that's always a good sign for these type of movies. I think that's why one of the reasons why they're so connectable to so many people. That's
true. Yeah. And they do kind of really do a good job of capturing that 80s era. I mean, that's the cool part about the first 8 films, basically all being taken place and shot throughout the 80s. Is you kind of see the revolution of the 80s in the films. And it's kind of neat because it starts here where this kind of has a piece of the 70s still in it, even though because it was shot in the 79. Right. But I mean, even then, you know, stuff hadn't changed that much in the early part of the 80s. But as you get going along here, I think a lot of people agree that this was one of the better looking, like polished, cleaner, like not stylized, but you could tell they actually had a few more bucks. This time around than the first time. Like, it looks a lot better. Because then the next one out is 3D, which is next in line. So let's put our ratings to. Should we say B or should we say A?
I gave it an A. I personally
give it an A. I'll go with an A, and the audience seems to be in there.
Yeah.
Because next up, it's Friday the 13th, Part 3D, which actually is Saturday the 14th.
Yeah. Well, that is. I mean, they all continue from the end of each movie. Picks up
until you get to part 6. Now it's like, part 5. Sorry, until we get to part 5. Now it's every day afterwards.
And this is the introduction of the hockey mask. He gets his hockey mask in this movie. Some of the 3D bits are still pretty good in this, especially like
if you're
eyeball.
Fortunate enough to have a 3D TV or the anaglyph version,
yeah. I mean, like that eyeball scene is still where an eyeball comes flying out. That's still pretty good.
Speaking of flying out, we got Snowed Up in the house.
Oh, man. So the whole time shift thing, I thought we were like starting right now, not an hour ago or whatever. So
what time shift thing? That was like 3 months ago, you stoned bastard.
I know. I was just, I was stoned, but no. That's it. I was like, yeah, Tom starts at 7. I'll do my show at 6.
Time change keeps fucking with me. It's like, that was 3 months ago.
That's the best excuse I got, guys.
Yeah, there was some miscommunication. That's all I said. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's my fault too. I need to check my Twitter a little more often. Oh boy. But I'm here. I made it. I'm here. How much did I miss? Ooh, about halfway through.
We just finished up part 2. We're just starting with part 3, and the guy who made this threw them all out of kind of whack as far as the orders. So
Okay.
unless there's one on here already from Friday the 13th, 1, 2, Freddy versus Jason, Jason X, and the remake. Unless you want to really argue with the placement.
The remake got an F. Yikes.
I was harsh. That was where I made an executive decision. This is the one I'm going to piss a lot of people off with.
The only thing about the remake was it had one of the best racks in all of Friday the 13th movies. So.
Everybody says that, but like at the end of the day, Jason don't take no motherfucking prisoners.
True, and he runs in this one, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, the running is less of a problem for me than the last half of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was great. We griped about it for a good 20 minutes, like the false starts, all the other problems this movie has. Like, people are too nice to this fucking movie.
That's true. I'd probably give Jason X a little bit better score just because they at least tried something different. And
that one I can't move because that's the audience choice. They voted.
Okay.
So
gotcha. Yeah. All right. But no,
it almost would have been lower if it wasn't for the audience. They saved it for you.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually like Jason X. Like, it's just, no,
both Greg and I are like, fuck that movie.
New costume. I don't know. It was different.
We're like too late. Too little. Too late.
I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off when sorry, Snow. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I think Jason X has one of the best death scenes ever put in a Friday film, with the liquid nitrogen face smash.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't something that had been done like 20 other times in different movies, I'd agree with you. And I will give it an extra point for the callback to the sleeping bag scene, because that's everybody's favorite one. But,
right.
We did give a call out, like a thumbs up to the whole David Lynch thing, because he did it for free as long as, or Cronenberg, not Lynch, sorry. Cronenberg, so, as long as he got killed by Jason. So, well, we gave it some good points, and then the audience came in and saved its ass, because Greg gave it a D. I was like, it's an F, motherfucker.
Well, you haven't done my favorites yet, so we're good. We're good.
All right, see, so that works out. So yeah, the first two are in the top tier so far. Freddy versus Jason's gotten a B. Jason X is in the C. D is empty as of right now, and I threw the Friday the 13th remake in the F category because I'm an asshole. Okay. And we got Jason Webster, who says, always felt Freddy versus Jason as a horror comedy entrant, if I said that correctly, like an American Werewolf in London, Fright Night, and Return of the Living Dead. I like it. I mean, it is kind of like an also ran, but it fits in both franchises so well that, yeah. Although it's considered more of a Jason film, I'd still say it's more of a Freddy film at the end of the day. Kitty Bear says shit list. Yes, it is technically the shit list. That's what it used to be called here. And I'll even get the little shit list thing. There we go. And then we got Beep Bop Boop, who says, controversial, but I think Sackhead is scarier. I can see that. I mean, the other problem with Sackhead is I think that they kind of had to change Jason, because wasn't there another movie, like The Burning, I think, that had like a sack in it or something like that? What was it? There was another one. I'm trying to remember. I'm getting them screwed up now, Greg, ain't I?
The Burning is a great movie, by the way. If you've never seen it, if you're a fan of Friday the 13th.
It's one of the best Friday the 13th ripoffs. Yeah, does he have a sack in that one? Or
he does not have a sack in it.
Okay, and then it's another one I'm thinking of. Because like the town that dreaded sundown or
maybe
something
it's
like that.
Madman. Madman, maybe.
One of them does, and I'm like, okay, so that's why they probably had to change it, or they felt it was probably a good idea to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The town that dreaded sundown was another one that had it too. Yeah.
Okay.
And the hockey mask just seemed like this was meant to be.
Yeah.
Because it was at that moment that, see, Freddy, like, we talked about this when we did the Freddy list. Like, Freddy penetrated, and pun intended, the zeitgeist of America and pop culture, like, instantly. Right? Like, I love the line in Nightmare on Elm in the New Nightmare where she says, Freddy, every kid knows who Freddy is. He's like Santa Claus. Because it's true. It is so fucking true. Here I was in kindergarten, literally the year that Nightmare on Elm Street 2 came out. I knew who Freddy Krueger was. Never seen any of the movies. Everybody knew who he was. And that early point already, I'm going, at that point, he felt like he'd already been around for years. And he just showed up.
I think I saw him in the Dokken music video before I ever watched an actual movie.
Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I seen things like that too on like Friday night videos and stuff because I didn't have MTV back then, probably. But it's just things like that. He was there and everywhere. People were, referencing him constantly. And Jason became the same thing as soon as he got that fucking hockey mask.
Yep. He became iconic. Yeah.
Exactly. As soon as he donned that hockey mask, that was it. It was over. This was meant to be like a shoe fitting. And it almost fits his character that he feels like naked without it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a great scene too, because of course he would get the hockey mask from the biggest nerd in the movie.
Yeah, the guy who's playing all the pranks on everybody. Shelley is the most hated yet loved character, I think, in the franchise.
Yeah. Poor Shelley. Everybody hated him in that movie. Yeah.
And we get a couple of face reveals as the chapters go on. So, sometimes the mask gets ripped off or split off. Of course. Or whatever. Yeah.
But I love how he acts like he's like naked without it now. Like once he gets it. And then I love, and as we get to Jason Goes to Hell, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I love how by the time you get to Jason Goes to Hell, it is literally like fused itself to his face.
Yeah. That's the one we're probably going to.
Like his skin has grown over top of it now.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's been on for way too long.
Way too long. It doesn't matter. It's like a pair of underwear. At first it's constrictive, but then it becomes a part of you.
It's good.
All right. So Friday the 13th Part 3. With the 3D, it's better. Without the 3D, I agree with some people. This one is kind of one of the more harder watches. And isn't it one of the longer ones of the series, too? For some reason, it sticks out to me that it's like an hour and 45 minutes, I think, or something like that. Or am I wrong?
I think that's the Manhattan is the longest one. So.
Well, Manhattan might be the one I'm thinking of. But, yeah, this one just has a lot of slow parts to it. And it has that weird thing with the final girl where she has some history with Jason that's weird.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is an hour and 35 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, so I was wrong. Okay.
Yeah, this one's... if it wasn't for the iconic mask, it's kind of forgettable, to be honest.
Unfortunately, you're right. Like it has the best and worst of all the things Friday the 13th, if that makes sense.
Right.
It has too many boring parts. It has some very forgettable characters, but it also has some very memorable ones.
Mm-hmm.
You have some characters who are doing shit for really weird reasons sometimes, but you're just like, whatever. Like the biker gang stuff just shows up. Yeah,
the biker gang people.
But they work for some reason in the movie. For some weird reason, they just happen to work. I don't know. And you get some extra kills that way. I mean, if anything, this has some of the more inventive of the kills of the time because, they were trying to do things they hadn't do, plus feed into the 3D. So the sad part is then when you're feeding into the 3D, like Jaws 3 and Amityville, those effects don't translate as well. In the standardized version or whatever. Although this one is probably the least of them, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like a lot of the effects, it didn't really fucking matter because they set them up in a way that they still somewhat look okay in standard 2D. So I don't know.
Yeah,
right. I like it. I'm not gonna ditch on it any more than I already have. Where would we put it though? Is it good enough to be a B?
Nah, I'd put it in the C, personally.
You put it in the C, Greg. What about you?
That's what I'm trying to debate because there is some really good stuff to this movie.
And there's better Friday the 13th sequels that aren't quite as good as the originals.
I definitely think the one we're about to talk to next is a much better sequel than this movie. Like you said, this is sort of like the in-between movie where the franchise is changing face, so to speak.
Yes.
I think I'll go with Snow. I'll give it a C. I almost wanted to give it a B because there's good stuff in it.
C+.
I'll tell you what, this one might change places.
It might.
We'll keep it here for now because when we talk about this one, here's the thing. Here's the debate with the final chapter. This one is a fan favorite in a sense of it brings the original half of the franchise to a close while also setting up the rare final guy.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, the best antagonist for Jason. Mm-hmm. And it almost makes sense because Jason was a little kid. And who better to defeat Jason than a little kid?
Yes.
Right.
And Corey Feldman, back before he was batshit crazy, was actually pretty good in the role.
Yeah, he was actually.
He was, yeah.
One of his better movies, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, this one has some of the better of the kids. Because you got Crispin Glover, you got the dude with the fucking, calculator thing that he's doing his computer, and you got the twins. You have, this also is the one that has the kid from who's looking for a sister from a previous film, which they used in the Friday the 13th remake. So this one has a lot of the elements in it. Is that the third one I'm thinking of? Or is that this one? This is this one. Yeah, because it's Corey. It's because it's Tommy's older sister who gets with him. Yeah.
Right.
So this one is probably one of the more memorable. And I think at the time it was the highest grossing one, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, back then they thought this was going to be the last one.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why. But it does. It goes all out. It makes you believe they probably finally killed this dude because they pretty much chopped the top of his head off by the end. Yeah. Spoiler,
right?
And then you got Corey Feldman just swacking away at him. You hear, after he's down on the ground. So
the famous Crispin Glover dance. Yes,
great.
The dead fuck.
The dead fuck. Where's the corkscrew thing?
Yeah, where's the corkscrew? Where the hell is the corkscrew?
I'm putting this is an A. This movie is an A.
I know, that's where I'm kind of teetering. Is this an A or a B?
It's an
A. If it
A.
goes in the B's, then
yeah, I'd say B personally. Yeah, I can't quite give it an A because there's just other ones that I feel are just much better than this one. As you get later into the franchise. So
let's leave it up to the chat.
I'll give it a B.
I think, yeah. I mean, I get where you come from, but but I have to be honest. This is one of my favorites. So
see, I'm kind of with Greg in a sense. Like this one almost kind of solidifies certain things about the franchise where it's very important.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave it up to the chat if you don't mind, and we're going to move on ahead to probably one of the most hated in the franchise. But I have kind of and I think most people have kind of this weird, because look, when we say most hated, it's not nearly as bad as things like Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Right.
And the reason people hate it is because of the cheat at the end. Otherwise, this movie, we talk about tits. This one has some of the best tit shots because it has a porn director for a director.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Deborah Sue Voorhees has the best rack you will ever see. Besides,
in fact, some of the best shit in the world probably wound up on the cutting room floor of this film.
Right. Yeah.
And part 5 is a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah, this one is probably my least favorite out of every one of them, just because of the whole twist at the end, and it's not really Jason, and it just they dived into the whole psyche thing of Tommy too much. It almost feels like it's like some kind of mind, like altering movie, like a psychedelic type of thing, because it's constantly doing these little flashes where Tommy's seeing, Jason everywhere, but it's not really him. And I don't know. It just delved too much into the psychosis of it all, and didn't get. It just didn't feel like a Friday movie to me. Like, I don't know.
It has a very straight to video before straight to video feel.
Yeah.
Because you replace your main actor, even though you have him in the first few minutes of the movie, which for those who don't know, Corey Feldman shot the first few minutes of the movie in his backyard while he was shooting Goonies.
Yeah. I knew that.
On the weekend when he was on break.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it wasn't just to get the rain, they just had a sprinkler hose thingy.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. They just set up this thing with the Jason, because I think he said also he had that grave site set up in his backyard for years. I think.
Well, no, Corey,
yeah.
Checks out.
I gotta be honest, I really cannot stand part 5. I know
I have some issues with 5. Like 5 is one of the most annoying of the bunch.
Ever.
Yeah.
Outside of the tits, outside of some of the kills, it has it does have this very like straight to video feel to it, almost like they cobbled together some idea for it's like, how hard was it just to do what you do in the next one? To bring Jason back, for fuck's sake.
And unfortunately for me, this was the first one I ever saw. It's kind of like Freddy. Like I saw the worst ones first. Like I saw part 2 first for Freddy, and I saw this one first. So I didn't get a very good, introduction to these guys. But as I went on, I realized they were, great movies.
Well, here's my problem with The Killer. I would have less of a problem if he gave that much of a shit about his kid. Why doesn't his kid live with him?
Yeah,
it's not like his kid is that incompetent. He's just a little retarded.
I hated that scene.
Are you really retarded?
You want some of my chocolate?
Well, if that's the way you're going to be about it, then fine. And the best part about it is that pedophile got his ass chopped the fuck up. Because guess what? He really was in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's got connections with Corey Feldman. In fact, a lot of people say that he fed Corey Haim to that motherfucker. But anyhow, that being said,
right.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
It's got a jaded past.
It's got some weirdness to it. Let's just put it where it belongs.
Wrong one, Tom.
Wrong one.
I was gonna say you're being too nice.
Put it where it belongs. Put it where it belongs. I knew what I meant to do. And I love how they give it the better cover, because this is the one that also has the oddball cover on the VHS, if y'all remember. I know Snow probably and Craig know.
Yeah. And this is the one.
It's got the weird hockey mask that it is not even in the movie.
Right. Yeah. It's got the blue. He's got the blue.
Yeah, but it has on the video cover. They have that weird actual goalie mask.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I got that.
For some dumb fucking reason. Yeah.
This is my least favorite, so I F all the way for me on this one. But if you want to put it in D, that's fine. But it's an F for me.
It's got some great tits.
I'll give him that.
Titties for the win, I guess.
Double D's in the D. So.
When that motherfucking redneck motherfucker gets his head chopped off, that's like one of the best parts of the movie.
Oh yeah, that is funny. That is funny.
And everybody wants. I'm sorry, that fucking kid deserved. Like when that fucking dude over the chocolate bar fucking chops him up. I'm like, yeah, give it to him. Especially now. Like back then, I didn't give a shit. Now I do.
This was the one where he lands on the spikes at the end, right?
Yeah, that's kind of cool too. I will give it a point for that.
Yeah, that's.
But and you got was it Reggie as a little kid?
Yeah, Reggie.
Yes. Yep.
See, because this is one I always invoke when people are like, black people always die first in movies. I'm like, well, first of all, you don't even have that many movies that have black people in them unless they're a completely black-led comedy, or I mean a horror film, not comedy. Sorry, like the Wes Craven one, the house one, People Under the Stairs.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. Yep.
Like unless you have something like that or Tales from the Hood, most of the time black people aren't in them. This is like the first time a black person showed up in Friday the 13th.
That's not true. In part 3, the black guy's a biker and he helps save the girl.
That's true.
Movie.
But that's true. Okay, that's true. But other than that, like this is the first time you have multiple black people in them, and the kid lives.
Yeah,
the kid does live. The black kid lives in this one.
Those damn enchiladas get
the damn enchiladas. Yeah, if it wasn't for the enchiladas, he wouldn't have got killed.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the damn enchiladas.
Oh shit!
He got killed by Mexican food more than he did Jason. Because it ain't even Jason.
No.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another one I love when they go by the body counts. It's like you have to completely erase any body count that's in part 5 because it doesn't. Yeah,
doesn't count. Yeah,
no.
Different person.
Same thing with part 1, but yeah. They usually don't count part 1, but sometimes I'll catch them counting part 5. It's like no. Those aren't Jasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Jason wouldn't want them.
Although he still has the highest count, doesn't he? Or
fuck yes.
Yeah.
Unless Michael
I think
Myers
Freddy versus
over.
Jason solidified that. That motherfucker hacks up like fucking 20 kids in the fucking field.
Just that scene alone, over the top.
That is one of the best scenes where he's just like, fuck this kid, fuck you, your head's gone.
Yeah.
When he twists that one kid's head around, he goes, "Son of a bitch!" He does that stuff on Jason, and Jason just like starts whacking away at people after he's on fire. Love that scene. Oh, I do love that.
Yeah, he's like 200 kills by part X. Yeah, and actually by Jason X, we don't even know because like he probably how many other people has he killed in between there?
Yeah,
if I remember right, they even said a number at the beginning when they're like describing him or something, but I can't remember now.
Confirmed kills, I think, is the term they use, but
yeah.
And then ActionCom says with 5, 3D06 is existence to the movie Coming at You. A 3D movie that made a lot of money. Studios started changing everything into a 3D franchise. I have Coming at You, actually. Yeah, there was a few of them, and horror movies really took advantage of that. Jaws 3 was probably one of the other most successful ones besides Friday the 13th, actually, at that time period. D. Bud Martin says the only thing about part 5 is the cup size on the topless chick.
You know what's great is she's actually commented on one of my videos. So
Noise.
yeah,
Wow,
Deborah. So I've actually had her comment on one of my videos I've made in the past.
All right, let's get into the next one here, which I think all three of us are going to have a few good things to say about this one. This is, I think, all three of ours personal favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or at least
second
Greg's.
favorite.
Second for you. Okay, so you're with the normal fan group. Okay, so I'm in the secondary fan group where I find Jason Lives to be the best of the bunch.
Yes.
It's so tough for me too, because between this one and 7, I'm just like, I love them both so much. So
the first interview I ever did for Midnight's Edge was with Tommy McLaughlin, and this guy is a fucking gem. And this movie shows you why. Like, this guy was like the Friday the 13th franchise didn't deserve him.
Right.
Like, he's definitely slumming it for this. He's a great director, but he had a fucking field day with this. And if anything, he gave us the future of Jason, because this is where people debate. What is Jason? Well, it's pretty clear from here on out, he's definitely not alive, in quotations.
No. What they call zombie Jason.
Zombie Jason, as he's normally called,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
Or Evil Dead Jason, as he becomes eventually called. But however you want to refer to him, yes. Like, not only that, this has Alice Cooper on the fucking soundtrack.
Yes.
Yep.
Some killer kills. And McLaughlin knew to have fun with the audience. Like, he was well aware of what he was making. Like, the jokes themselves.
The American Express joke.
The American Express joke, the happy smiley face joke. I mean, there's so many. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah, I love that. So what did you want to be?
Just so many cool little bits. And this is one of the only ones that have kids in the camp.
Yep. It's true. This is the only one where the camp is actually operated as a camp.
And this one it never lets up. Like, it starts out great with the whole, spike in them and the electricity and coming to life. And
the fucking
it just
007
goes.
opening and everything.
Yes. It just opens up great and just doesn't let off the gas. It's perfect. It's one of those perfect Jason movies for sure.
Which is funny when you find out that they were supposed to, or they wanted to really pushed hardcore to do this as Jason meets Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, they really badly wanted to cross them over.
Did they really? My
yes.
God. Oh, that would have been terrible. Oh, glad they didn't.
I think it could have possibly worked, but not at this point. You had to wait a few more years.
Yeah.
Because Jason was still like this to me kind of revived Jason in a big way.
And he was still kind of scary in this one,
Yeah, because I mean, I remember him falling off a bit after part 4. Because I mean, I was already, at this point, this is when I remembered Jason. Like, this is the movie I remember being a big deal when it came out. And so I remember they had the song, and the poster was very memorable. And it came out was in August of '86.
Tommy coming back.
Yeah, even though he's played by a different actor than the last one, doesn't matter because Tom Matthews is a much better
Tommy.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only connection I have to the last one, which to let you know that it still is like the truck he's driving in the beginning of the movie is the same truck from part 5.
And Rorschach mentions it too.
Yeah, Rorschach mentions the where they're coming from.
Rorschach,
so, like,
yeah. Did I say Rorschach? I meant
I'm pretty sure they used this version of Tommy in the game too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And in fact, I think he even returned to play the role in the fan films too.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The Never Hike Alone, which if you've never seen them, are great fan films. So
check that out.
Yeah, and the RV kills are great.
Yeah.
This thing handles like a dream. I'm loving this, man. I've never driven a house before.
All the kills in this movie are great. Like, I can't think of a bad kill in this movie.
No, it's great.
I'm a teenage Frankenstein.
It's a good movie.
And then of course the main theme is great.
Yeah.
And then you get the iconic ending, of course, when he gets chained up to the bottom of the ocean. We've got so many action figures of that now, and images of. They even have one in Lake Michigan, I think, where it's actually
where some guy did it to see how long it would take before somebody knows.
Right.
Now we were talking about this before the show, Snow. It always bothered us in Freddy versus Jason when the chick goes, Freddy died by fire and Jason died by water. How can we use this? And then they have him like die in like this death like thing, like this death stance when he's like being rained on. Like it always bothered me. But then Greg and I were just talking about it. You know, there might be something to that because remember, it's not so much the water, it's him being trapped in the water.
Trapped, right?
Because Jason, he was fine until fucking Tommy fucking chained him to the thing, and he couldn't just break the like. Why couldn't Jason break the chain?
Yeah.
You know, we're like, he's strong enough. Why didn't he just break the chain? Well, there's something about that. There must be something to that. So I gave it a point back.
Yeah.
I gave him a point back. I was like, okay, so there is something to the water in Jason because they also have him just walking out of the water at the end, you know? Like,
oh yeah.
So, I mean, they do acknowledge that. So, you know, like, maybe I'm going to let that slide now from now on.
Yeah, because there's something about it. It's I don't think it's maybe now that I think about it, stuff. Maybe it's not he's afraid of water. Maybe it's he's afraid of being stuck in the water down there forever, unable to get out.
Maybe it goes back to his childhood because that's you know, obviously how he died.
That's his one weakness, right? Like is to be stuck in the water, and that's not the water itself; it's to be stuck in it.
Right.
Anyhow, that being said. All the reasons that you guys said, I think this should be in the A category. I think Greg agrees with me, but I think
it's my favorite.
Okay, so we're going A with this. All right. Now we get to what is probably your fan favorite.
This is my favorite.
The fan favorite because this has sold more videos than any of the others. And that is Carrie versus Jason, aka Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. We just lost Lark Voorhees.
We did.
2 months ago? Yeah, sadly. Yeah.
I'm pretty butthurt about that too because I have an iconic Jason poster.
Now that Justin Proper Kid shows up, when I messaged him a fucking 45 minutes ago, he didn't answer me.
Where has he been?
I was gonna see if he wanted to get in on this, and he never answered. Now he answers me.
I haven't seen Proper in a minute. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
If you still want to get in, just let me know. But yeah, so here we are. Well, I'm gonna let you start with this one, Snow, since it's your favorite and the fan favorite.
Yeah, like for me, this is X-Men before there was X-Men. You know, you got your
or Lark Parling. Did I call her Voorhees for some reason? I was thinking of the other chick from before. I don't even know what I said.
Yeah, this is like it's like to me it was like Rogue. You know, it was fighting them. And, you know, a lot of other people say Carrie and stuff like that, but for me it was like X-Men before X-Men, superhero before superheroes, and because we didn't really have anything like that yet. You know, with psychic powers and fighting with them and stuff besides Carrie, but. Of course, when this movie came out, I was into comic books, so I immediately related to like Rogue and stuff like that. But it's such a fun film. The Weekend at Bernie's guy is extra creepy, and just, the way he comes off is perfect, and how he's so just obliviously stupid throughout the movie, trying to be the psychiatrist. But the mom's good in it. Some of the best kills are in it, and what I think personally, one of the best end fights ever, you know, just the way she just kicks his ass up and down in the end of that movie. You didn't really see anybody handle him like that up until that point. And the ripping his mask off and the reveal. And then of course what solidified it for me was Kane Hodder, because this is his first version of Jason, first movie he did. And he nailed it. And I think because he nailed it so well, that's why he got the next 3 movies in a row after that, up till Freddy vs. Jason, which still pisses me off, by the way. I still think he should have been used in Freddy vs. Jason, but
yeah, we brought that up.
Yeah, but Kane Hodder, I mean, you just couldn't go wrong. And to this day, he is still making money, going to cons and stuff, dressing up. Me and my son got a picture with him in the Manhattan getup, and he's still doing it. You know, he's still kind of taking in the cash and the praise of being Jason thanks to this film. Yeah, I have
that one too.
Yeah. It's great, and you can take his mask off and see that dark face on that one. I bought 2 of them so I could keep one in the box and one took one out.
Yeah. Friday 13th 6th one, so I could take that one out. But yeah.
But yeah, this one for me is the best out of all of them, personally. Some people might disagree with me, but for me, it's just like I could watch it over and over again and be entertained by it. This one and 6, those two are like just like the perfect Jason movies for me.
Yeah, Kane really infused him with more of a character of sorts, I guess.
Gave him that
soul,
hulked up thing too. Where the breathing, you could just tell, like it's just the way he raises his shoulders up and down. It's a more menacing Jason. The most menacing one, I think.
We added some acting to it. I mean, some of the other guys kind of did before, but I mean, he really just relished it, and you could tell there was something about it was special. It was definitely special.
This wasn't a Jason movie, but in Hatchet, I remember I watched like the behind the scenes documentary thing or whatever, and he would go off stage and like beat the shit out of the walls and punch stuff, and I remember the audience was like, or not the audience, the other cast members were sitting there listening to him get pumped up for his scene, and they were scared, like, holy shit, this guy's crazy, because he was over there like raw, punching the wall and whatever, just to get pumped up for his role. And he was doing the same thing with Jason too. And so yeah, this guy Kane Hodder, he owned this role. So yeah, gotta give it an A.
Yeah.
What's funny is I remember Lar talking about, I can't remember the actor's name, but the main guy that's with her love interest, and how they just did not get along at all. Like to the point where they like flat out hated each other.
Oh,
and then I guess she found out later that he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
So I don't know. Yeah, and then I think they made up later on or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know every bit and piece of it. But speaking of gay, look who just showed up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, speaking of which, how you guys been?
How you doing, Justin?
I'm doing good. Thank you for reaching out. I didn't know what the heck was going on. We were doing a
Sorry,
Friday
it was kind of last minute, but yeah.
Yeah, like I'm like, I just got off at the end of a day, and just I wasn't even thinking about checking Twitter for a long time since I've retired. So it's been a long time since I've spoken to you. Have you?
Long time no YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very good time to do this because we're approaching the true Friday the 13th this Friday, guys.
Yep.
Holy shit! At the 45th anniversary. Wow, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
So yeah, since you're brand new to the panel, where would you rate part 7?
Part 7. Oh,
since I'm assuming Snowdub would put it in the A's. You didn't even say it, but
definitely an A+.
No, are you guys kidding me? No, all the characters are boring. I never vibed with the later film.
Oh man,
yeah,
too bad. Internet sucks.
Sorry.
Oh, come on. No. If we're being perfectly honest, like I just, the interesting part was the Carrie versus Jason aspect, and I appreciate that. But I never, I know Friday the 13th is not known for like continuity or like characters or anything like that. It's just a bunch of kids getting killed, stuff like that. But this one, I'm like, it's probably a D. That, like, for me, I'll be honest.
So we got an A, we got a D. I'm gonna save this one, and I'm gonna put it in the A as well because I agree with just about everything Snow has said, except for me. Part 6 is just a smidge better, and I think Greg's probably gonna agree with that.
I agree with that. I would put 7 in the A category as well. I do think 6 is a little better, but I mean,
imagine if I was here earlier.
You got overruled. Sorry.
Oh no, that's perfectly acceptable. I was late, so my rankings don't count. But I would have put put the final chapter at A. Like I would have,
which we did. We just did. The vote came in. So
I would have put it in like
big time
tier above that as S.
Well, we don't have S tiers here because I don't like to argue about that.
Oh, that's fair. I think that's the GOAT. That's my personal
Not only
opinion.
that, I love to give people shit about it because they always give me shit about it. And it's like, well, I did the research and, well, somebody told me and I did the research too. But S is actually the equivalent of A in, what was it, Japan or China? Somebody remind me. I think it's Japan. So, Japan. Like, yeah, I'm like, so what the fuck's the point of having 2 A's?
I think there's a distinction to be made between like A
I
and then
know,
like
I know.
what's GOAT. So
I still don't. To me, A is GOAT. So what's the difference?
it's fine. It's fine.
But that being said, I just wanted to explain that. ActionCom sends in 5 since we're on this one now. Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan has the most memorable trailer, especially for a little kid who didn't know who Jason was. Can we see it? I think we can get away with watching it, especially considering it's not even in the movie.
Yeah, talking about false advertisement.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God! And hold on a second. Did you guys put the remake in the F tier?
Shit, yes.
I'm with you on that one, Justin. I didn't think it was that bad.
What? What the? Why?
I didn't think it was.
What?
Because Jason don't take fucking prisoners for one.
Right.
No.
And the underground tunnel thing was kind of dumb, but
no.
Amazing titties and some decent kills. I would have put it a little higher myself, but yeah.
I'll think about it. But
you please do. So I like the setup. I like the setup if it was like a Halloween film and that they were chasing Jamie Lloyd. Like
well, that was a
that should have
teaser.
been Halloween
That
6.
was the actual trailer.
yeah, that was actually just a teaser. But
It
yeah.
reminds me of
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Leatherface teaser trailer with the chainsaw coming out of the lake, like the Excalibur.
Well, the trailer, he kicks that radio. I remember that much in the trailer.
There was only 2 parts that I really liked, and that was one of them. Like when he kicks the boombox and the skinheads are like what the F, man? And then Jason like pulls off his mask and it's like and they freak out. Like I love that part, and I love the part, of course, what we're going to talk about is the boxing match. Who wants to take that on? Who wants to say anything about that?
Are we there now? We are in Manhattan, right? We're talking about it now?
I mean, to me, like I just want to get the positives out of the way. Like those are the only 2 positives that I have. Is like those 2 laughs.
That made me
There's
laugh.
some other good shit in there. Yeah. Like I love the guitar death. Look, I'll be honest with you. This is gonna blow everybody's mind. This was my first Friday the 13th movie
that you ever saw.
Yep.
Oh wow. Dude. Oh, dude. I can't believe.
So I actually like it more than most people, but I understand why people dislike it after seeing the rest. Because the first time I saw it, I'm like, well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just mad that
the
movie was on a damn boat. You know, I was expecting him to be in Manhattan way more, and most of the movie they're on the stupid boat. That's what made me mad about it.
Yeah, I mean everybody says that, but like, can we also
Iron Wolf? To be clear, until I was about 9 or 10, which would be the year this movie came out. No, I had cable, but people need to understand the cable where I was living at the time for most of my early childhood was so podunk that we had like 13 channels, and most of them were ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, and then repeats of a lot of the same shit and PBS. Like the only real cable channels we had were TBS and WGN, I think, for years, and then ESPN finally came along. And then so like until I moved to a town that actually had real cable, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Like that's a good point about how limited.
And there was no way my mom would let me rent a lot of that kind of shit back when I was a kid. I got away with seeing a lot of stuff like with my cousins and shit. Like I saw first Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street movie was like a year before this, and that was 4 on video, and I watched 4 and 5 that summer with my. No, so that would have been the same year I saw this. Would have been 4 and 5 in this, so that would have been 1990 maybe even that I saw them all in. Because from then on out, I saw them all, but yeah.
So you saw this, and then 4 and 5, and then you saw the rest.
Nightmare on Elm Street the same year, and then I went back and watched them all because then I had friends who had them all. But yeah.
You watched all the Nightmare and Friday the 13th.
Yeah, roughly around the same time, and the Child's Play ones because those were actually coming out because I remember renting Child's Play 3 when it came out. So like by that point, I was already watching them pretty regularly. But yeah, until I was like 9 or 10, my mom wouldn't really let me watch a lot of these kind of movies.
Yeah, my first time seeing one was at a friend's house, you know, where their parents allowed them to watch it. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting, like between generations? I can give you like a good example of how in my generation I got away with watching some of these movies. I would just borrow it from the library, and because I was an upstanding like young kid, like no one, you could get it delivered to your elementary school or your middle school. So I would get like Halloween films like literally delivered that I would borrow from the library and then take it home with me and then just put it back on the shelf in my middle school, and then just like it would be that, like, you know, like they would have like explicit albums, like the censored albums of bands like Green Day and stuff like that, but they would not have anything like against like horror movies or like R-rated films. Like that didn't exist. So everyone has their own way of working around it. And so like that's how I saw Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, thinking that's the first film and having that being my first experience and being like, this sucks. I don't like it. Like, this is weird. What are these weird films? Maybe it's something I don't understand, you know.
I gotta answer this question. There's a little creek that goes from Jersey all the way to New York.
No, that's another point I made in my ranking video like a couple years ago. I was like, why, like, what exactly river? Like, I don't feel like doing the research to know where.
Oh, no shit.
New Jersey is where this is supposed to take place, and it leads to a river. This lake, Crystal Lake, leads to a river that leads to New York, that leads to the ocean. And with that giant cruise ship like fitting in there, makes no sense at all. Doesn't make any sense.
The whole movie doesn't make much sense, especially.
Is this
the ending.
true? Did Bob?
No. That can't be true. No.
I'm not finding it anywhere. Yeah.
Bob Gale, huh?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. If somebody has it for real, send it to me.
This is gonna be like the weirdest news.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it anywhere. Anyhow, back to the thing. So, Greg, where would you put Friday 13th Part 8?
Like I said, I always thought Jason X reminded me a little bit of Jason Takes Manhattan. I was much like all of you people. I was very upset that it spent time on the boat. I gotta give it a D personally. I gotta give it a D. I do think it has great kills. I do like some of the characters in this movie. It's not that great. The boxing scene is probably the best, one of the best scenes in the movie. I mean, if he could have just held on a little longer, he may have defeated Jason. Kane Hodder is great all around as Jason once again. Yeah, I just never cared for this one. I just didn't. But my first Friday the 13th was actually Part 7. So that was the first one I actually saw before any of them. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give this one a D personally. It's just not one of my favorites.
Is that where you'd put it too, Snow?
Because of Kane Hodder and him, nailing the role again, and some iconic scenes like the kicking of the stereo. A lot of people remember that. That one's been that's been a scene that a lot of people have just used for other things over the years, just for fun. I'm gonna have to put it in a C. Kane Hodder saves it for me. The ending for sure is terrible. Like, it's one of the worst endings ever.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the worst final girls too. Let's be real with this.
Yeah, she's annoying.
Not one of the worst, but like least memorable, which is
right.
The whole like uncle fucking side story. It just.
I'll say C minus. Yeah.
Oh, he meant Ed Gale. You know what? Sorry to say this, but yeah, Ed Gale was kind of a piece of shit.
Oh my god.
Not so sorry to see him go, sadly, but yeah.
I was frantically doing research for a moment, so yeah, but may rest.
Yeah, that was like a week and a half ago. Yeah.
Not to make you do too much work, Tom, but I did send you a picture on Twitter of when me and the Stowe Kid, we met Kane Hodder, and he got dressed up in this iconic outfit from this movie.
You could have just shared it too, but yeah.
I guess I probably could have, huh? Yeah.
No, I got it. It's all good.
Yeah, that's Kane Hodder. Sweet. That was just last year, where he got dressed up in the Manhattan.
That was another thing that fucking bothered me about this movie is all of a sudden he gets this mask that has like the fucking chip and everything, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes no sense.
No.
Yeah, because he was resurrected and should have No,
Well, he gets that
no.
mask from that one dude on the boat, but like, why does his mask have the chip at the top like Jason's? That makes
Yeah,
no sense.
exactly. None of it makes any sense. I just when it comes to the logic of this movie, I just don't care.
Oh, Mecha J, too soon, sir.
Damn.
Yes, like Chucky, he had a thing for young girls.
Yikes.
Oh
Yikes.
boy.
Well, that's half of Hollywood, so.
Oh wow, no, oh, no.
Yes, Howard the Duck was a bit of a perv. So yeah, yeah, I think Justin, you hinted at like the D or the F range.
No, this is fuck. This is what are you guys talking about? Like, this is clearly an F. Like, it's not even.
That's what I just fucking said.
No, you're totally right. No, it's definitely an F, but it's not above.
I'm putting it
the
in
Friday
a
the
D.
13th remake.
I can't stomach that piece of shit.
You know what? I can. Even the first.
I've tried watching it no less than 4 times since I got that fucking 4K, and I keep shutting it off because it's so goddamn annoying.
I'm gonna fight you on this one. I want it at least changed above, like Jason Takes Manhattan.
I'll give it a D.
Yeah.
I'll give it a D.
I'll agree with D. I'll agree.
All right.
I'll give it to it.
Well, it's your stream. I'll deal with it right now. But I'll talk about it later.
This is gonna be the first. This is gonna be a first in the history of fucking tier makers on here because I am not going to allow Jason Goes to Hell to land in the Fs. I don't give a shit.
No.
Oh no, you fucking don't. Oh, this belongs in, like, is there a category below F?
I don't care. I
fuck
love Jason Goes to
that.
Hell
It is
for
not.
what it is.
It is not above.
It is lovable
It is
garbage.
not above the remake. No, abso-fucking
Look,
I think
Look.
it's way better than the remake. I think it's way better.
Way better than the remake.
No, Greg, fuck you. You ruined our conversation.
Oh, wow.
He brought that up earlier.
I did. You ruined that shit because you had an interview with the guy, and just because you kissed his ass, now you have to justify this piece of shit. I'm sorry, but no, I'm sorry.
I like Adam Marcus. He's a good guy. I know him.
Of course, he's a good guy, but he was also a very young kid doing this, and I understand that there are flaws to that, but it doesn't excuse the shitty film that he put out. It's crap.
I think it's a good movie.
The audience is not really with you on this.
No.
And you got Creighton Duke. Creighton
Yeah,
Duke
no,
alone.
He's an amazing
I
character.
don't care.
When I think
disagree.
of Jason, I think of a girl in a pink dress
Yeah.
Right?
holding a hot dog.
Yeah,
and a
no,
donut.
no,
Donut.
gross. No.
Love it.
Oh, you're gonna drive me
Fucking love Creighton Duke. I don't
I
give a
do.
shit.
What's the price you're willing to pay for some information, boy?
Yeah. By
Oh, that's expensive information.
No, why'd you have to go and ask that?
yeah, he has all this information, yet he's still there. Like when Jason gets blown up, so he could have had opportunities to defeat Jason with this information.
No, he
never
needed a
did
Voorhees.
anything.
Did you not watch the movie?
Yes. Only a
He didn't do shit.
Sorry, Greg. I didn't mean to do that.
He's trying to kick
I meant to
Justin.
do this.
There you go.
He didn't do shit with the time that he
I'm
had.
kidding,
Clearly,
Justin.
Creighton Duke is just like to me is a bullshit artist, and I didn't like it.
No. He stood there.
Best
He
part of the
watched him blow
movie-
up Jason, and he's like, "What does he say? I don't think so." And he goes to Pamela's daughter, which is what's her name in the movie. That's the one thing that's kind of weird is that all of a sudden Pamela has a
Yeah.
daughter out of nowhere. But that being
Chick from
said,
Buck
Yeah,
Rogers and
and-
Silver
yeah.
Spoon. I can't think
but
of
I
the
don't
name.
care. I give Adam credit for swinging for the fences on this one, and I said this to him directly in my interview with him. I'm like, look, you could have done what every other person expected you to do. You could have took the easy route. Instead, you swung for the fences. You were working within parameters that were almost impossible, right? Like, I
Mhm.
mean, this guy's asking you to literally take Jason out of the movie pretty much, right? Like,
Right.
and he finds a way to still make it work without the hockey mask, because I mean that the hockey mask is Jason, right? So like, and that was Cunningham's big issue was like, get that fucking hockey mask out of the movie. And for those who
Yeah,
don't know what that's all about is
Mm,
he didn't produce the sequel, so he never liked Jason.
Yeah, I have my own thoughts of Sean Cunningham and his terrible decisions on these franchises.
Which is why when he went after the fucking rights, I'm just like, dude, you fucking hate your own franchise. Get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah. He didn't want the hockey mask. He didn't want the machete. He's the one that put all these strict things onto Adam in making this movie. Adam was doing his best to try to keep the hockey mask in there, to keep the machete in there and stuff. And yeah, does the movie have problems? Yeah, there's some stuff in it that I don't like and everything. I don't like that Pamela had
the jumping body stuff was kind of dumb.
The jumping bodies was dumb. Yeah, there's problems I have with the movie, but I think it's a fun movie.
Yeah. Just no.
But I love the look of Jason. I love that he tried to add some more lore. I love a character like Creighton Duke.
Yes.
The two leads as far as his niece and the guy from the Friday the 13th series is what's his name in the movie?
I know we just watched it too.
It's not Mark, is it?
I'm
trying to remember what his fucking name is in the movie. If it's Mark or if it's
I want to say Tommy for some reason, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's like
Steven.
Steven.
Yeah, Steven.
Steven. Right.
Supposed to be Tommy, like it was written as that.
Initially, I think that's what Adam hinted that he wanted to do, but he couldn't. John, that's where I keep getting the name mixed up because John DeLume is his name.
Yeah.
But they don't even have the rights to anybody but Jason, and I think the name Pamela Voorhees was all they could use otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Terrible fucking deal, but let okay to Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I got to give him credit for that. Like, and I give credit where credit it's due. But at the end of the day, I am judging the movie as the movie itself, and the movie itself is you cannot put it below you can't put it below maybe Jason Takes Manhattan. But to put it above the remake, I'm still stuck on that.
All right. Justin, let me just say my piece on this real quick. So when I first saw this movie, me and my buddy went and rented it, and we saw the cover, and it said uncut, right? And we were like, ooh, it was like there was no R rating to this sucker. So we brought it home, watched it, and I specifically remember the tent scene where the she gets poked in the chest and ripped all the way up in half, and we both just flew back on our couch like, whoa, and that set the tempo, right? And then there's some other awesome kill, like the punch, the elbow back to the fat chick at the restaurant where her whole chin gets caved in and then thrown in the hot fryer. I mean, there is some very nice kills in this movie, and it kind of sets up what everybody was wanting, was that Freddy versus Jason thing. That alone, people were talking about that shit for years until they finally made the movie. So I mean, if anything, Jason Goes to Hell kind of latched onto that idea of having two iconic monster movie guys fight against each other. And for that alone, you got to give it credit, because it dared to go there. It dared to put that thought in everybody's head, and everybody remembered that. And for me too, is like some of the best kills in the whole franchise are in this movie. The uncut version. You have to watch the uncut version though.
Yes.
Yeah.
That takes it out of the F category for me. So I would put it in the D.
What's the other movie that's in D? I can't quite see it.
Friday the 13th Part 5 and Jason Takes Manhattan.
No, Part 5. You guys were really harsh on that.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I would have put it.
You're not going to get me to budge too far on the remake. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No.
You can make all the arguments in the world, just like with look. I'll accept Jason Goes to Hell winding up in a sea.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? We have a problem. Dr. Manzer flew in with $20
Yes, Dr. Manzer.
to say that Jason Goes to Hell is either A or B. And guess what, guys? I like money. And I can be bribed.
Oh, damn it. That is how it works.
I will be mad at you if you put it in a sneeze.
Man.
I will be mad at a sneeze.
Yes.
All right.
Since he paid for it, this is going to get me so much shit.
It is.
I hate you.
But you know what? Adam Marcus is smiling somewhere right now if he's not watching.
Shout out to you, Adam. I'm going to get you back on the show again.
I despise many decisions on this tier list.
You know
so,
what's-
so
You
I
know
I
what?
do think
I'll stop you for a moment here, and let me tell you why Adam deserves another shot, at least a little bit of a reconsideration. Once you see the documentary, I bet you'll change your mind a little bit, because that's coming soon. It's done now, finally. And he is the reason that Ash versus Freddy versus Jason was even a plausibility, even though we never fucking got it, because and I know you hate this, but I'm going to allow you to kind of have some peace with it proper. Just think about that for a moment. He was setting us up with not just Freddy versus Jason, but Freddy versus Jason's versus Ash by making Jason a part of the Evil Dead universe.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
he asked I don't know who he asked. I don't think it was
Robert Tapper, I think it was.
to include that stupid book to be in there, and I get
Sam
it.
Raimi
I
Just the
get
book,
it.
but he wanted the knife too, and the knife, even though it's not the exact knife, it's still technically supposed to be similar to the knife.
Yeah, and I get it. But it's just the way that it's played out in the movie. I'm just judging it as the movie.
It has a lot of fantasy shit into it. I totally understand that.
I don't mind that, but
Yeah,
if he was allowed to, well, I'll give you this: if he was allowed to execute what he wanted to without, the Jason worm thing, without like the guy eating the heart, without any of that crap and transferring bodies, like, I think I would have been more receptive to the ideas that he had as opposed to the execution and what he was allowed to do. I will absolutely give you that.
Now, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going off of memory, and it's been a few years since I've watched the interview, obviously. Didn't he kind of say that Jason isn't exactly a Deadite?
Yes. He said
he was something else.
He's something else, yes. But he's still tangentially involved in that whole thing. He was brought back with the Book of the Dead is the whole point. Yeah.
Similar to like Revenant.
I was thinking that he was a person up until the final chapter. Legitimately, I think he was a person. Even though
you can still think that way, but I mean, you can also look at it as the reason he's an adult all of a sudden and kind of like this unstoppable thing is that his mom did raise him from the dead.
Yeah.
I don't think he raised him from the dead. I think that there was some sort of like the only thing that would
I could believe she would have tried.
Yeah, the only thing that would conflict with that is like why does Alice in the first movie have that, vision, and then why does because
there was no vision. She just fucking was just having it was just a bad dream. Like she said, she wound up.
Yeah,
like
exactly. And then he's still there, and then that alludes to him actually still being there. But like, why would he not, like, after almost drowning in the body they were found? Again, these are the kind of things that
it makes sense to me that think about like not long after Jason would have drowned and they couldn't find him, couldn't find the body and all that kind of shit. She was dabbling with a bunch of shit, and then she stumbles on the Necronomicon, does the whole thing to try and bring Jason back. It does work, but Jason comes back from the dead where he is, and he wherever he washed up on in the lake. So
like at the time, at the time.
And so he's this little kid who's suddenly back to life again and doesn't know where he's at. Can't find his way home. He finds a cabin and he survives for years eating like fucking rabbits and shit. That's where he's at by part 2. Right? So then like you can still kind of believe that then. It's like, okay, well that's why he's an adult now. Or you can believe the other way is that he just never actually drowned, which either or works for you, right? I mean, you can just apply it to that. It works.
Well, yeah, but you have to do a lot of mental gymnastics and
both
Jason
ways you do, really, because either way he has to go through that many years surviving on his own.
Well, yes, either way, but with the movies,
I believe he'd be more apt to survive as a brought back from the dead kind of thing. What did you call it, Greg? I forgot what you said.
I mean, and it makes sense. What was it though, Greg?
Hey, mute it. Sorry, I was talking and I was muted. Sorry. Yeah. Revenant.
A Revenant, yeah.
I think Adam said he'd liken him to a Revenant. It's like an undead creature he's not a deadite, but he's not really alive. So, well, you know what I mean. He's kind of like a Revenant.
Okay, well, what does that mean? He's not quite dead, but like he's back from the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he's unstoppable or something like that. Like what? Like or like he's just brought back from the dead and he has no idea why.
This is not Lord of the Rings. We don't care about the
Yeah.
lore that much.
I don't know. I'm
there for
trying
the
to ask
kills.
questions of like
You're
what
applying way
of
too
like-
much. The point is
Yeah.
both of them lead to the same position, right? Like you get to the same
Yeah.
place, and then it also explains why it was so easy for Tommy to bring him back from the dead in part 6, where it was just a jolt is all he needed.
it's just explained, you know,
Which
in
that
this
would never
movie.
bring back a human being.
Yeah,
So
and
exactly.
it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
They would
That's
just
why I
burn the
wouldn't.
corpse up. Like
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Nod
have
to
even,
Frankenstein.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
have even
well,
put
that's fresh.
Jason Lives like in the A category. I would have put it in B, but like I'm not too hard.
hey, you
but,
just
like,
shut your mouth on that.
but I'll be
yeah.
honest. I'll be honest though. Like, you know, that doesn't excuse like the terrible way that it was executed in Jason Goes to Hell. That's all my, you know. And again, like we talked about the limitations and stuff like that. And I admire what he was trying to do. I really
You know, we were
really
trucking
admire.
along just fine, pretty much getting along with everything we were calling until Proper showed up.
Yeah.
It's got a point.
Believe you me, you would have hated it a lot more if this was like an hour ago. I have very strong opinions about Friday the 13th, but like, I mean, Jason Goes to
original?
Hell. Oh my god, I hate this ranking.
Well, Jason Goes to Hell still, to me, has some of the best kills in the uncut version. You have to watch the uncut, which I'm pretty sure most of the versions of it now are uncut.
I mean,
Back
it's not
then,
that much different, but it does help a little, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
There is still more to the movie that we have not seen that
That's
Adam
the other
was still
thing,
not
yeah.
allowed to put together.
I can
It'd
see
be
that.
nice if we ever get it.
Yeah.
And you get the little worm guy going straight to the VJJ hole of Pamela to be reborn, quote unquote. I mean, they push the edge a little bit.
No. I'm just so against it. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm glad you guys like enjoyed like the concepts of it more than I do. I'm just judging it by the execution, and that's all it is.
I can get it. I understand how a lot of people don't like it, especially some more hardcore fans. But like even some of the more hardcore fans are the ones who are more fans of it. Like my buddy, who's like an uber Friday the 13th fan, it's one of his favorites, and it's because it adds so much lore to the franchise, and it does take so many chances. And Jason does look so fucking cool in it. Like,
He
that's
does.
what
It's a well shot film. Like it's actually put together pretty well. Like the story flows, you know. I mean, as stupid as some of the things that they put in it, I know they were trying to shoot for the fences or whatever and try something new, but it's still a decent film. Like you can sit down, you can watch it, you can follow along.
And honestly, I went in knowing exactly what the movie was. Right, I brought this up before. Like we had, and Greg knows what I'm talking about. We had the magazine from Fangoria, which literally gave away the entire fucking movie, beat for beat, scene for scene, almost. So it's not like some of us already knew what we were getting into. It was not like it was a surprise. So, yeah,
it's true. And I mean, I've always personally liked the movie. I knew when we got to this one was going to be a bit controversial because I know it's one of the I know it's one of the ones that a lot of people don't like, but also I've always enjoyed the movie. I mean, I did. What can I say? I've actually always just really enjoyed the movie. I love I've always been a huge fan. Tom knows this. I've always been a huge fan of like the Universal monsters, and watching this movie in general really felt like it was setting up like a Universal monster thing, which, as we know, they actually were trying. Adam was trying to do that with the Evil Dead and Freddy and all that. So, like, even like the house, the Voorhees house, it's like Dracula's castle almost. So
yeah, or even like
felt like a Universal monster type movie to me, and I
is
love
like
that.
The Jason is a Hammer movie made, a Jason Hammer movie. If I can talk.
Sort of in that vein. Yeah.
It also sounds like he was playing into the earlier ideas of like like Freddy versus Jason, and Pinhead shows up at the end. A Freddy versus Jason.
Yes, initially that was in the script. In the Freddy
I don't think
script,
was it his idea.
No. That was in the Freddy versus Jason script.
But then again, like those seeds were planted, you could say, with to all your guys' credit, like that was planted in Jason Goes to Hell, with this, multi-universe like sort of setup. And I know there were inklings of Freddy versus Jason before he even showed up, but like I think that's what like kind of drew
made it
him to
real.
that. Yeah, but he was also like kind of a young guy, and when you said like this was shot great, I'm like, I would argue that like it's shot exactly as some of my peers had, in film school. Like it looks like a student film, and it's because he is basically the age of the students that I grew up with. So I can't say that it was well shot or it was the best shot or best quality. He was just a young, experienced guy, and who had the opportunity of a lifetime, and he took full advantage of it and did whatever he possibly could. I will give him full credit for doing what he could. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm not disappointed that it's above the.
Well, it's posted on
remake.
X now.
I'm disappointed it's in B. Like
it's posted on X now. That's where it's staying. It's done. I'm gonna take shit.
That's fine.
Did you get his second one, Jason? The Jason Webster one?
This is the first one we got. We haven't got to the second one yet. We never read this one yet.
Okay.
Jason Webster's, no, that's all right. Sent in 5 Australian, says, have you seen the fan films Freddy vs. Jason Evil Emerges and Never Hike Alone, a Friday the 13th fan film and its sequel? Any opinions? I have not, but I'm well aware of them. I'm kind of funny when it comes to fan films, although the Never Hike Alone one, a lot of people have told me to check out. I've seen scenes and stuff from it. Is that the one that Tom Matthews is in?
Never Hike Alone? Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So I've seen some of that.
Seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've seen all 3 of them. They're awesome. Makes Jason Lives kind of better in my perspective. Promotes it from a C to a B, if you will, because it deals with like the gravity of the situation.
Okay. I gotta watch them. I've never seen them.
I mean, what do you think, Greg?
Of what, the Never Hike Alones?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I like them. The guy that made them follows me on Instagram, so I think they're good.
I meant in regards, because I felt like there was like doubt in what I was talking about, like the gravity towards like Jason Lives and like how Tom Matthews deals with his character.
Oh yeah. He did. He's really great in those, and I haven't seen the second one of the second half of it. I've seen the first 2 parts, but I haven't seen the newest part that they did.
Oh, you haven't seen the rest of it?
No, I haven't seen the rest of it, but I know he comes back in it. I know deals with
dude.
Tommy and what he's gone through and everything.
Dude, it's light years better than any of these movies.
They're good. They're good. I wouldn't say they're light years better than any of these movies, but they're really good.
Okay. Oh wait, with the exception of the final chapter and the remake.
Do you put the final chapter and remake as the top?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh my
wait,
God.
The final chapter? Are you kidding me?
I love final chapter. It's one of my favorites, but like
that's the
part
top
1,
of
the original,
list?
part 2, Jason Lives, and part
Yes!
7. Those are way better. Way better.
Wait.
It's the only movie that like has characters that I give a shit about. Like,
Wait, what was he talking about? 5?
He's saying the fan films are better than.
Huh?
Oh no, the final chapter. I said aside from the final chapter in the remake, Never Hike Alone is probably the best of any of these movies.
Yeah, I have to see it to.
I mean, they're really good, but no.
Or yes, we need to have a discussion about this, because maybe at a different time. But I gotta say, like, Friday the 13th has never been one of those like types of films that have storylines, continuity that makes any sense, or like anything like that, any consistency aside from
really?
like a few of the films. Like there is a through line, there's a through line, but that through line becomes so thin at the end of the Paramount run, and then it gets even worse when Jason goes. You know how I feel about that, and then Jason X is, a complete joke. It's basically like Scary Movie, and I love it for that. But it's a parody film, and then you have Freddy versus Jason, which I think would have been so much better if you had, like, I don't know, characters that you gave a shit about, like the survivors of both.
I like the J Kid.
Yeah.
I didn't like any of them. I hated all of the characters.
You get the Christmas Story kid back in it.
Which one?
The bully from the Christmas Story. He's in
it.
He played the older brother that's dead.
Yeah, in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't get to see him die, though, right?
Right.
Yeah, no.
And then John Morris sends in 4 to solidify. Goes, I'm with Tom. I love Jason Goes to Hell. I want Adam's cut, please. I know, it'd be nice. Like I told him in the interview, it's like, funny thing is all the things you explain to me that you want to do, you can do now on a home computer and don't cost the millions of dollars they would have back then.
Yeah.
And then Jason Webster says, Tom, I love the tier list. They all have been pretty much spot on with the rankings. Well, we try. And I try to get you guys involved as much as possible as well. So there you go. This is the first, though. This is the first time we had one that didn't end up on the F, but it wasn't by my choice.
Yeah. Mine either. Yeah, there's one I think should be an F, but it's fine.
I think we all do.
Yeah. That's to me, which one is it? Oh, okay. I would say Jason Takes Manhattan objectively, but
yeah, part 5. That needs to go in the F.
Yeah, I hear you.
You think part 5 over Manhattan?
Yeah.
Really?
As long as Kane Hodder's in it, I can't give it an F. I just can't. Kane
okay.
I'd honestly bring Jason Takes Manhattan up a bit, probably.
I would have taken, Friday the 13th.
I'd bring 3 up to B, but that's just me.
I would have taken 3 to D.
See, I would have took Jason X to B. So
if this was my list, I already promised fucking, since I told Yellow Flash I was gonna do this thing. So here's my version of it. Okay, so here we go here.
I think you should have saved it first.
This goes here. This goes here.
No, it doesn't.
Here. There you go. Now it's perfect.
No.
Now it's my list. But what's your list? I'm going to post this underneath the original list, and I want you guys to do your own versions of it because this one is out there.
Can you send me a link to it? I will reply to it. And just,
Yeah.
Yes, please, because
Well, the good thing is most of the movies we were pretty close to each other within a grade or so. It looks like, for the most part. There's a couple we kind of disagree with, but most of this list we're close for most of them.
Wow! I think I would have thrown this so hard.
I was pretty happy with the list we created. So
I was too. I was fine.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
Well, I'm glad I missed the first 45 minutes then. For your sakes. It would have been a nightmare. Like, I don't know.
Oh, John Morris also became a member. Thank you for that, John. We appreciate it.
Awesome, John.
Justin belongs in the F.
I know. I have. And what's funny is that, I love the first Friday the 13th, but I would have put it in B.
What?
Like, I would have, but then again, now that I'm hearing the conversation, I'm like, are we ranking this based on, film quality and just how it affects us? Or are we basing it off of the standard of a Friday the 13th film?
It's kind of more the latter. It's more of how iconic they are and how the fans.
So on the standard,
personally, we kind of all weigh that in, and then we just and then if we kind of in disagreement to a point where we're way indifference, then we'll throw it to the audience usually. I
mean, I would have accepted the part 2 as number 1 over part 1.
Oh, part 2 is in my top ranking, and it's in all the other ones. But I mean, you kind of got to give that first movie credit for what it is too.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely
clever on how it's basically just a reversal on Psycho. I mean,
and so many other movies tried to copy it too.
Yeah. And as we said, probably the best of them was The Burning. But yeah.
The burning. Oh, I was looking. I was so many. Like when I saw that online, like so many people had commented, like, "I'm so glad, that George Costanza was in it when he had hair." Like
Yeah.
like like I felt like I wanted to edit that into Seinfeld clips. And why George was messed up is because when he was at summer camp, George Costanza had this like traumatic experience, and that's why he's like all like psychotic.
What do I make up as I go along? What the hell is
That's why I like part
Big
7
J
so much.
Tom.
I was such a big fan of
like
Weekend
a
at
song.
Bernie's as a kid. I loved Weekend at Bernie's, and to see Bernie himself in part 7, not as
What's his name?
dead.
Richard what is his name?
Terry
It's,
Kaiser.
Kaiser.
Okay,
Terry
yeah.
Kaiser. Terry Kaiser.
Yeah,
That's what
Terry
it is. Yeah.
Kaiser.
Is he the sidekick?
Yeah, no, he's the
No,
doctor in
the
part
therapist.
7.
Psychiatrist, right?
Yeah,
Psychiatrist.
the psychic guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but he's a fun role in that movie.
Well, he's a great
Oh.
actor in general. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like fun, and that's what was great about the Friday the 13th films. They were just such fun.
We didn't even manage to bring up that Kevin Bacon was in the first one. I'm surprised.
Right?
You didn't manage that?
No.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's first movie. Yeah.
Of course, I did do a.
Well, no, Animal House.
Was Animal House before that?
Yes.
Yeah, 78.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, he was
78 or 9.
He
Yeah.
was in a few, but like this
First
wasn't
major role then, right? Because he was
well, he wasn't a major role in
I
this
think he
film,
took it
too.
to pay the bills.
right.
Yeah, I think so. It was sort of the same thing as like
He
when
doesn't
Tom Hanks-
like. Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't like disregard it like a lot of other actors do, though. Like he'll talk about it and he'll like,
He's
like,
not
I'm
as always
thankful
asked
for it,
about
yeah.
it. He's asked about Footloose all the time.
Yeah. Well, that was
I mean,
Yeah,
who
he
was
had
the
Animal
big
House
movie.
prior to that, and then Footloose after that, which kind of
Yeah, but like horror fans, like if they were to really ask him, like as opposed to like a late night talk show host or something like that, they wouldn't
Yeah.
ask him about it unless they were prompted for some reason. That's how these interviews work.
Like I said, I've seen him talk about it though, so it's not like
Yeah.
he.
Yeah,
really
but it's like,
disregards
but
it or anything.
for the longest time when I was growing up, like I never heard him being asked about it. I'm like, I would have asked all the questions about this.
Well, it's because at one point he was so big, it was just like you said, it wasn't one of those
Yeah, it was-
things, and
Kind of like Johnny Depp with Night
Yeah.
Hair.
yeah, most
Mhm.
people are like, oh yeah, by the way, yeah,
Oh yeah, and
Kevin
Tom-
Bacon has said he wants to
Tom
play
Hanks-
Freddy Krueger. So
and Tom Hanks was the same way in but not in like a big franchise. It was like it was
Who's
a
the
movie
Buddies?
called- No, he was his first role was in a slasher film called He Knows You're Watching, and he like played like a a psychiatry student, and he was explaining like about horrors and fears and stuff like that. And he was allegedly he was supposed to have a death scene in that film, but then the producers liked him so much that they cut out his death scene. I don't does that make any fucking sense?
it happens sometimes in movies like that.
I don't know. They thought it was going to be a franchise. It wasn't clearly, but no, it's completely true. Like he was supposed to have.
They
Yeah.
thought a lot of movies like that were going to be franchises, thanks to movies like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So they all tried that. Not all of them succeeded. So
Yeah, and this came out
Yeah.
right after. But
Speaking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we just dropped a video
yeah.
on the latest Texas Chainsaw Massacre news over on the main channel. Do check that out.
I have to see it because did Taylor Sheridan get the rights, or was it the other?
He's
people?
one of the people. Oh, it all happens tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no
oh.
fight over it,
Tomorrow's the
aren't
big
they? Yeah.
day. Yeah, so a bunch of people are coming in to vie for the rights of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And,
Yeah, it
Please
didn't work
don't
out
be
for-
Jordan Peele. Please
The
don't be
last-
Jordan
No, I don't
Peele.
think he
Last
was
3 or
mentioned.
4 were just terrible.
He was. I thought.
I don't
Why
know.
not
Check out
Jordan
our video. Andre
I will,
did it.
I
I
will.
edited it so fast that I got to watch it myself again.
Now the
Just to see
remake
how
with,
bad it is.
what's her name? Jessica Alba? No,
Beal.
Yeah.
Beale, right? And Arlie Ermy, I mean,
it was all right.
Oh no!
And the titties and the tank top. I mean,
by the way, same
good.
director as the Friday the 13th remake. Same
Well,
director.
here's the thing:
I know.
Texas
That's why
Chainsaw
I
Massacre remake is not as bad as all the other remakes. Plus,
It's not.
it was one of the films that you can kind of let it slide because the original film was shot on 16 millimeters, such a low budget indie film that
Right.
it kind of deserved that big budget version of it. But to me, and the franchise rests and dies with part 2 anyway. Like that was the peak and the end of it, because after that it all is downhill from there.
That sounds like another tier list coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be willing to join you on that one because, like, oh my goodness. Like,
Well, as Andre pointed out, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has more restarts than Halloween franchise, technically.
That's true.
Because every single sequel after this is a part 2 redo. Even though Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is called part 3, it disregards part 2.
Right.
So does every other movie. And part 2 is the more fan favorite, at least in my opinion, as far as I can tell. More people talk about 2.
It's more watchable than part 1.
You got fucking, like fucking chainsaw fighting with Dennis Hopper, for fuck's sake.
It's trash.
And you got the chili contest. You got the DJ. What's her face? Help me out, Greg.
Stretch.
Just cut out. Stretch. Yeah, but what's her real name? I forgot. Yeah.
Carolyn Williams.
Yeah. She's great in it, and it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun film.
And Bill Moseley. Forget Bill Moseley.
Yeah,
Bill Moseley, of course. Yes, which is funny.
My Sonny Bono wig.
Yeah. God damn it, Bubba.
I love part 2.
That was his first film, I think, if I remember right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love him in Devil's Rejects. I mean, guys, so
yeah.
good.
Well, that's why he got that role. Yeah.
Right.
But all right. Thank you so much, guys.
I just want to tell you one thing. Can I tell my first time discovering Friday the 13th?
Please do. And then when you're done with that, just plug your channel and we'll go around the board.
Yeah. So the first time I saw it was on TV. I saw it. I got the second half of part 2, and then right after, airing on AMC Horror Night was the final chapter. And I had just watched The Goonies. I had just watched Back to the Future. And so, seeing Crispin Glover and Corey Feldman in there, I'm like, ooh, this should be good. So I had good expectations. And then just seeing that film, even though it was, edited for television, I, got the point. But I still was like, oh, wow. This they really did good on the story. I could honestly follow, just if there was a story of, Jimbo and Teddy just getting laid on a weekend, that's a movie. That's a good movie. That could be funny. And that's what I like, these kind of comedies that are really cool when it comes to discovering insecurities and stuff like that, and diving into that sort of thing. I'm digging deep for a Friday the 13th film, but holy shit, that was what set me off. And then I saw it at the first one, and that was amazing, and I just kind of got hooked ever since. And never saw the uncut ones until a lot later. I did the library method, and I saw all the later films on DVD, and I'm like, these are all terrible. I hated 5, didn't hate 6 as much, hated 7, hated 8. I'm just like, this is just I was just falling asleep watching it as a kid, and I still don't like those films mostly. So, but man, that was awesome. Seeing those films. By the way, part 3 also sucks. I don't know why you ranked it that high. I'm Justin Proper.
It's got some iconic moments, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, one.
That one. Come on.
Yeah, one. Name one more. There we go.
There's a couple good death scenes in there.
Good death scene. I mean, he's got where he squeezes the girl and her eyeball pops out. He's got the first time where they actually hang Jason in the movie. The first time they ever try that on Jason.
You got to see his face.
You got to see his face for the first time.
3D.
Yeah.
3D ruins it.
First time Jason used a kind of a gun. Kind of.
Yeah.
Pitchfork.
At the end of the day, the 3D ruins it for me. The guy is too old for the girl.
I don't mind Jason using harpoons. Guns, I got a problem with. He can never use a gun.
Right. Well, the harpoon.
Harpoon's fine. Yeah, that works.
Was 3 the
Projectile
one
weapons are okay, but yeah.
Well,
Harpoon
harpoon is kind of like an arrow, bow and arrow, so that makes sense.
was 3 the one where he does the guy in the wheelchair that he takes care of him?
No, that's part two.
That's
That's
two.
two.
It was amazing.
But Shelley's a decent character, and there's some other
No,
shit. He gets some
no.
hate. Fuck you.
He's annoying.
Shut up.
Every single shot was like it was the first take.
But he got
Every
he
single
had-
shot.
And you're
he
a
had
fan
the
of these
hockey
movies?
mask.
I am. I just don't like part 3. I would rather.
Wasn't 3 also the first time he started using machete quite a bit?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, part 2 he used it quite a bit. The
Or did he?
wrong.
I couldn't remember. I thought you said a knife most of the time in part 2. But...
Yeah, maybe he did use it in 2. Yeah.
Yeah,
because he did
I,
whack the guy.
I think it
who
became.
was with the
I think
machete.
it became
The guy
iconic in 3.
that you just mentioned, like the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, he gets whacked with the machete.
Well, we put 2 way up there. So what are you bitching about, man?
Oh, I'm
Jesus
not.
Christ.
Oh, I'm not bitching about 2. 2 is exactly where it belongs. 2 is
Calm
amazing.
down.
And again, another movie about like good characters that you relate to, good storytelling.
Shelley is not an incel. He's trying to get laid. He just don't know how. He's a nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just
And that chick that Shelley's hanging out with, she's kind of cool too, because she ain't got like the most traditional. He's like, I love her.
he doesn't have the most traditional, character traits at all.
Yeah,
She's
she's
like-
more of
she
a
has
bit
no
of a different
character.
character, and
No,
I mean,
she's not a character. That's silly.
yeah, she is. I mean, we get
Yeah,
a
she
few.
is.
Yeah,
I
she's
guess.
comes from a Hispanic family, and she's got a big family, and she's willing to give Shelley a chance until he keeps being a pussy.
Yeah. Poor Shelley.
And then rejects him. It's nowhere.
Well, it's his own fault. He
It
let that
was his
happen.
own fault, but it's just
He was up to bat, and motherfucker struck out. Okay, like
Yeah.
look.
it would have
can't
been
take
better
that
if it
away.
was Jonah Hill, I guess.
Oh God, no, fuck.
Oh.
Although Jonah Hill is a better actor, I'll give you that. But that being said, check out Justin Proper's channel, even though I don't even know if you do YouTube in much anymore. I hardly ever see you around.
But just check it out and just I'll do some horror stuff of myself maybe at some point. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm at a good place where I can do whatever the fuck I want. Clean
Sounds
slate.
good.
It's great.
And Greg, we do stuff every Wednesday, but you also drop videos throughout the week.
Yes, I do videos. I cover, entertainment stuff, physical media, horror movies, B movies. I do the physical media show every Wednesday night with Tom. I'll be dropping videos this week. I don't have a video planned at the moment, but I'll have one. But I did just release one yesterday about the thriving market of the boutique Blu-ray labels. So check that out if you guys want to. Yeah, that's what I do.
All right. And Snow, you also do bunches of shows and stuff.
I do. Yeah. I got to host Jolly the Patriotic Puppet. We're definitely adamant about making Muppets great again. We're not too happy about how Disney's been treating the Muppets, especially what happened yesterday with the complete death of Muppet Vision 3D. But we do some funny live shows with a bunch of other Muppets and crazy stuff. And of course, some videos, Jolly's Rants, where he kind of just makes fun of crazy meltdowns and stuff like that. So always a good time, always a lot of laughs on my channel. So yeah, check me out. And thanks for having me on, Tom. And like Greg and Tom, I'm a big supporter for physical media, of course.
Yes, sir.
Sweet. And of course, I'll be on the morning show tomorrow. Check that out and check out the 2 videos we just dropped on the main channel. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.
And thank you very much for the invite. By the
Yeah,
way.
no problem. And next week, I don't know exactly how it's going to go down, but we're going to do famous TV dads. We're still figuring out exactly. Oh, we got a last-minute super chat from the Dead Man. Thankfully, you got it in here before I hit the button. It says with $5, compare Friday the 13th to Star Trek movies. The first one is slow, 2 is the action of the series, and 3 is okay, but not as good as 3, or not as good as 4, I think he meant. But yes, I can see the parallels. I definitely do. Yeah, I think I've kind of thought of that before too, in a way. But yeah,
I mean, what's kind of better is that the Voyage Home is that what Star Trek 4 is called?
The Voyage
Voyage
Home,
Home, yeah.
Yeah, that was supposed to be like a real highlight, and so is the final chapter. And you know what's great about the final chapter? You can just watch that movie and skip the bullshit that's part 3, and it encapsulates everything for you. You can skip the first 3 movies and just all be cut off. That's amazing.
You go ahead and kick him now, Tom.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only reason I'm not going to kick him is because he isn't wrong, because these movies are set up in a way, unlike a lot of the other horror franchises, to where if you haven't seen the other movies, you can totally fall into one of these like a procedural TV show. And not really have seen the other ones and not really lose out at all. That's why I came into part fucking 8 was my first one.
And then they had a highlight reel for you for the other films at the beginning.
Actually, it made the rest of them kind of better in a way. Like I'm saying, like that was my starting point. The low point of the franchise in a lot of people's opinions at that point. I had a lot of fun with Jason Takes Manhattan. I'm laughing my ass off at all that shit.
Yeah, and my fault is that I joined at the highlight of the franchise. So I'm sorry if the other ones felt underwhelming. So
what were you saying, Snow?
I was just saying 5 was my first one, and that's
that's a low point too.
Yeah,
I still stuck around, guys. I still stuck around.
It makes a lot of sense of why you guys had the rankings where you were, like a little bit lighter.
What about you, Greg? Where did you start?
I started on number 7 was actually the first one I saw, but I got into them from there, and part 6 is my all-time favorite, and I've enjoyed them. So
see what I mean? I'm not surprised. Friday the 13th is one of those franchises where a lot of people can come in just about anywhere.
Yeah. Now with the Nightmare on Elm Street, that was like my older brother's favorite, so I was always with them.
I was able to come in at part 4 and kind of go backwards. It kind of worked out that way because that one closes off the first 3 and kind of starts off its own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and especially since it does it so quickly at the beginning of the
it does.
So it is kind of a good gateway into the franchise at not quite a low point, but like you're like, oh, that is cool and visually entertaining, and Freddy's a neat character, and these kids are kind of, relatable and enjoyable and whatnot, or I don't mind seeing them die. So like, whatever. And then you get to part 5 and you're just like, oh, what the fuck happened? So then I went back to the beginning and I watched the first ones with my mom, which was really awkward because my mom insisted on seeing them. She found out I was watching them. So this was earlier on, like Friday. I swear Nightmare on Elm Street came the year before Friday the 13th for some reason. Maybe that's why. So maybe I didn't watch them all in the same year. So I'm getting that all mixed up. Because then I remember I borrowed all of them from my cousins who had them recorded off of HBO. But she insisted on seeing them because she wanted to make sure to see what I was watching wasn't going to fuck me up, I guess. Because she had this thing with horror films, like I said. And I think she ended up getting into them just as much as I did, which was hilarious because she acted like she didn't. But I caught her, I don't know how many times since then, watching New Nightmare on TNT. And I'm like, I caught you watching Nightmare on Elm Street. She's like, I was not. I was just flipping through the channels and it was on. She says that every fucking time.
That
like,
allows me to like it. And
I think she did I think she did like that one, yeah.
Yeah,
and it probably reminds her of her time with you.
Potentially, but I mean, I could tell the ones she liked just from her. Like, she's not a good liar to me.
Okay, well, fair enough, but like,
because she would play like, "Oh, these are just disgusting. I'm just watching them to make sure you're not seeing something you're not supposed." That's literally what she would say. And I'd be like, "Ma, that's bullshit."
You like them? Just say so, Mom.
She wouldn't let me not watch them without her, right? And I had to pause and all that. Like, she didn't really give a shit. She'd just peripherally be watching them, doing laundry and other shit like that, just kind of poking in. Anytime she heard a 4-letter word, maybe kind of perk up, or possible tits might show. Like, that was the thing she was most concerned with out of everything, was like ultra violence and or nudity / sexual content. That was the 2 things she was probably the most concerned with me, right? Like, because outside of that, like, even like Rambo and shit, she didn't give a shit about. Terminator, though, she found a little too, like, until Terminator 2 came out, she was kind of like, because that kind of fell more in the horror kind of category, right? And I'm sure that's the way she saw it, was like, that's more like a slasher movie than an action movie.
Yeah.
And the Alien movies were the same thing. She wouldn't let me watch those when I was younger. Those were some of the first ones she finally kind of gave into, though. But then it was kind of like, okay, then she kind of let me go with the Nightmare on Elm Street. She hated the Friday the 13th ones. She wouldn't even bother with those. Which is funny, because those probably have more sex in them than the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, they do.
A lot more.
Yeah, so like, which is weird how she
Like,
just...
I don't remember very much sex in Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's why I kind of knew that she was getting, because she didn't like Child's Play either, I could tell. But like, so like, at least I like, that's how I knew she's getting into these movies. Because by the time we got to like part 3, she was kind of, I could tell she was really getting into the whole fantasy element. She could tell that this wasn't what she thought it was. Right. And it was the same kind of thing with Ninja Turtles, because she didn't give a shit or pay attention what the Ninja Turtles were until she had to take me to the movie. And then coming out of the movie, I could tell that she enjoyed it almost as much as we did. Right. So like, at that
by
point,
the time
then it
part
dawned
3
on
came
her
out?
what the hell they were. Huh?
By the time part 3 came out?
Oh shit, I watched them way afterwards. Like, we're talking like early 90s at this point. So like,
okay.
But I'm talking about like the Ninja Turtles. It was the same kind of thing. Like when I was a kid, she didn't care about the Ninja Turtles. She just thought it was that stupid shit kids are into. So the first time she ever actually watched anything Ninja Turtles was when she had to take me to the movie. Right. So I went to see the movie with her in the theater. And afterwards, it finally clicked with her what this thing was. And she enjoyed it.
The very first film?
Yeah, the very first film. It was kind of the same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street, but that was like one of the only ones of the horror stuff that I was getting into at the time that she even remotely seemed interested in. Otherwise, it was all this peripheral shit. Like I said, like I'd be watching Child's Play 2, and she'd be doing laundry and other shit. And she'd be like, I hate that fucking doll. You know?
She
wouldn't say the F word, but she's like, I hate that doll.
For a different reason, you know, like not.
She didn't care for Halloween either. Like she's like, oh,
What?
Jamie Lee Curtis, but like, you know, like
Later
Jaws and stuff.
ones,
The weird thing with my mom, this was another thing, and this kind of what started the whole thing, which was fucked up, because she saw the name Wes Craven on one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies too, and she's like, I know who he. And this is one of the reasons why she wouldn't let me watch it. She's like, that guy he makes nothing but just smut and filth. Because this is how come she thought that. She went to go see. She went to go see Last House on the fucking left in the theaters when she was young.
Oh, that's why. Yeah.
She remembered it to that day, and she hated that fucking movie. But she had this thing with it. So she's like, one day when I brought it home, she's like, "Is that Last House on the left?" I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "We got to watch it then," because she hadn't seen it since then. So it was kind of one of those things where she had to get over that. And then when she saw it, she's like, "Yeah, this is stupid compared to what I remember." But then it got to the dick scene. She's like, "Yep, that's what I remember." So fast there.
Oh yeah.
So she was like, "Yeah," she's like, "Yeah, this is why I didn't like this movie. It's just disgusting and filthy and just gross."
I gotta say the remake was a little bit cleaner when it came to that. A little bit more redeeming.
Well, Last House on the Left is such a weird film.
Yeah,
it has a clash of tones in it that makes you kind of feel uneasy from the start.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it works for the movie too, which is weird, but like, yeah, like because you have like this imbalance throughout the entire film, and then when that ending hits and that twist comes in, and I don't want to spoil any of it for anybody who's never even seen the remake, but
yeah, it's very effective.
But yeah, I found out that's where that all came from. That kind of clicked for me because she's like, that Wes Craven, he's a sick and twisted individual.
well, I mean, she's not wrong, but you have
like, Mom, did you know he's Mormon and he never even saw television until he was 19?
This is what suppressing these kind of things does to your imagination. Like,
exactly, yeah.
Like that's kind of the whole idea.
That's why a lot of his shit, especially Nightmare on Elm Street's all about repression.
Yeah,
exactly. Repressing these thoughts that you used to have, and maybe abuse. And I don't think that happened to him personally, but no,
I mean his dad was strict, but he just grew up in such a strict religious household that, like I said, even television and film were off limits, kind of thing.
Yeah, and the fact that guy came up with Scream later, after the suppression movies were out of a system.
Well, that was more Kevin Williamson, but he knew what to bring to the table.
Oh yes, absolutely, but
he brought the pedigree of I've been doing this for 20, 30 years now. I know how to do this.
and did it very well.
Like a great artist when they hear a good song from a real good songwriter and they're like, let me have that song. I can make that a number one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like but not like, but that's more of a producer role. But like,
but no, it's the same kind of thing, right? Like when
Michael
Jackson's sitting there listening to your demo tape, and he's like, I can make that a number one hit.
Yeah, but like, but it's more of a genuine sort of producer kind of role. Like, let's point you in the right direction. Like, okay, you got a great idea, but like, let's go with this, and then we're gonna. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, kids.
I just have one more thing to add to the Nightmare thing. Did you already do a tier list?
Yes.
For Nightmare, yes. Yeah, you missed out.
Oh, damn it. Damn it, was Nightmare
I was there for that one.
because that would have been mine, because I would have said to you,
well, maybe you should be a YouTuber again. Jeez.
He's so fucking
What's the matter with that?
Nothing. There's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Did we put Nightmare on Elm Street at a C? I think, didn't we?
The first one or two?
No, part 2.
Let me see if I can find it.
Two
I
should
think we
have
put
been
it at C,
like an F.
C or B.
Whatever it was, it better have been higher up than some of the other ones.
that was the first one. That was the first one I had to see of that franchise.
That was the first one I saw that franchise too.
The only thing I
God, I
really
saw
remember
3 after
offhand is that the only one that was in the F, I think, was the remake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's definitely an F. Yeah.
We would have been in so much more agreement with that tier list alone.
I think 2 was pretty low though. I think it was at least a D. If I remember
Yeah, it
right.
was in the lower tiers. Let me see.
Oh no!
Yes,
I
proper.
don't
yes.
remember it being very high.
Yeah.
That movie almost made me not a fan of Nightmare. So.
I mean, it has things about it. Like, I mean, we talked about plenty of the
themes.
Well, no, I mean like
undertones.
Undertones. I like that.
I'm trying to find it here.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to give me exact rating. I was just asking.
No, I have it. I screenshot them every time and I share them. I just kind of trying to remember when we did it. I got so many pictures.
It was a couple months ago, Tom.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of scrolling at this point. Just kind of scroll till I find a tier list. Man, was it that long ago? Jesus.
Yeah.
What's this one?
Yeah.
This one is the Leprechaun list. Did we do it before or after Leprechaun? I can't remember.
We did it before Leprechaun.
Before, that's
Yeah,
what I thought. Okay.
Okay, you already
Like one of the first ones you did when you came back.
It
after
was one of the
Culture
first
stopped doing
ones.
it.
You're right. Yeah. If not the first one.
Oh
Because
man.
Culture was doing the Sunday night shows for a while, then he quit.
He pissed me off because he. Okay, it's long enough. The NDA is dried up on that because I let him like take over that slot because he begged me for it, and then he would like every other week he would cancel.
I know.
So I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, I'm gonna take the spot back, and then he's like, no problem, all right, fine, because he said he couldn't do it anymore. And then as soon as I announced the show's coming back, he comes in and he's like, I'm gonna do the show Sunday. I'm like, fucking asshole, and I left.
Oh yeah, I was his co-host, and I was getting pissed off. You know, I'm just like, come on, man,
dude. I was like, make up my mind here. I can't find it, but anyhow, I know like the first one, the third one were on the top tier.
Yeah,
I think 4 and I think 4 wound up in the second tier. Did anything else wrong?
4.
There was controversy over New Nightmare. I remember some of us.
Well, maybe not. I think the one we argued the most about was probably New Nightmare.
Yeah, it was.
Really? Like,
and
you guys argue over the good ones in this.
Well, I mean, I think it was Price. Was Price on that one with us?
Yeah,
like
Price was
one
one who didn't like it.
He didn't like it, and who else didn't like it? I was trying to remember.
Was it the 70s rock guy?
6 was there.
70s rock fan.
No, it was me,
I think
Price,
6 was there. That was a pretty loaded panel, I remember.
Yeah.
Nick Kaiser was there, but he had to leave.
And I think we gave the audience the vote on New Nightmare eventually, I think.
I think he wound up in B. I think that's where
it was like somewhere in the B. So that might have been the other one that wound up in B. And then C, I think, had like Freddy's Dead and 5, I think, in it. And then D, I think, is where 2 wound up, and then the remake was in F, if I remember. I think that was the... And I think Freddy vs. Jason was on there, and I think that wound up in B or C as well in that case. I think it got a little lower rating in that side of things, but Because for Freddy, he does kind of get punked out in that movie. He only gets one killing, and I think we brought all that up. Anyway, I'm not finding it, so let's just get out of here. I don't know, it's so fucking long ago. It's on my X, if anything. You can scroll through my X and find it. I'm tired of looking. My eyes are buggy. Did I do a dance? According to my thing, we didn't surpass my goal, and we only got 2. But we did get a 20, that's true, and a bunch of 5s. So I guess I got to do some sort of little dance.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Shake that thing. Shake it.
What kind of a dance are we talking about?
Church with teat.
There it is. Oh my. Oh my.
There you
Getting
go.
frisky.
There it is.
That's your money's worth, kids.
Woo. I gotta fan myself off now.
So I have to dance between taking clothes off and not
I'm
taking clothes
soaking
off.
wet right now.
But if I start taking more clothes off, people might send in money, so I keep them on.
I mean, like, Greg, you mentioned being soaking wet. Like, how wet are you?
Oh,
I'm
just
all right, I gotta go, guys.
I gotta go.
All right, kids.
Yeah.
Take care. Good night. See you next week for dads on Father's Day.
Oh, speaking of wet.
Jesus.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Remake is an A. 5 ain't enough.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Enough.
It's been posted.
I
You want
tried.
my $5 back? Talk to me later.
No, move it to a C.